Torah is just a long string of numbers. Some say that it's a code sent to us from God.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's just good stuff. Check this out, okay? The word for the Garden of Eden, Kedem. Numerical translation, 144. Now the value of tree of knowledge, all right, in the garden, right? Eitz HaChaim, 233. 144, 233. And you can take those numbers. So
like the Fibonacci sequence?
Fibonacci.
Fibonacci is an Italian mathematician in the 13th century. If you divide 144 into 233, the result approaches theta.
Theta?
Theta. The Greek symbol, golden ratio, golden spiral.
Wow. I never saw that before. That's like that series you find in nature? Like the face of a sunflower?
Wherever the spirals.
You see this math everywhere.
Because there's no reason to wait around. There's nothing I have to prepare for. This is an easy. I got him on the run right now. I got Ammon Hillman on the run. I don't know how I know that, why you should know that. This is a basic IQ test for people paying attention. Either you have the IQ or you don't. Either you're paying attention or you're not. Maybe you just don't care. Maybe you just think this is all entertaining. Cheers to those people. I agree. But if you're paying attention to this, if you notice today in that stream, that watch a master, I saw in the description, watch a master bring correction. Correction to what? You talked about the Hippocratic corpuses being not dated to the 5th century BCE, which is actually a non sequitur. Maybe I did get that wrong. Doesn't matter. Deal with the source. Whether it's 5th century AD, 10th century AD, 3rd century BC, doesn't matter. We're going to get into that, though. You never addressed the numbers that the Hippocratic corpus gives. You never addressed the numbers. Not only that, that was the last of 4 sources that I presented to the witch doctor. I presented the Delos inscription. It's inscribed on a rock on Delos. There's no hiding from that one. The numbers are on it. I brought forth Epictetus, the Epicurean philosopher. There's also numbers in that one too. The other one I brought forth was Diogenes Laertius, Lives of the Philosophers, talking about Pythagoras gave us a list of Pais, Neoniskos, Neones, and Geron. And he gives us the numbers for them. So why did Ammon Hillman decide to jump on here and ignore every source that I brought forth? He just completely ignored all of my arguments and diddled every single one of his audience members, just diddling the hell out of you. He brought you in a back alley, just did a whole little sidestep. Whoop, whoop, whoop. He didn't address anything I brought. So we're going to replay the clip of what I said, show you what his rebuttal was, and then go back to the sources. We're going to break down the Greek word by word. I got someone here right now. Stephen is here in the house. Now Ammon made a comment about me only doing Unit 3 with him, which I thought we were at Unit 5. I went back and looked at my book. He's right. We started Unit 4. We didn't finish Unit 4. So I guess he's correct to say I finished Unit 3, and that's correct. I was going to say, hey, bro, I thought we were up to Unit 5. Well, we were almost to Unit 5. We never finished 4. So he's correct.
Hansen and Quinn does a lot in 3 units.
It does a lot. It throws a lot at you. But how long have you and I been working for? Ever since I left Ammon, I went straight to you after that.
Well, we had to pick up the pieces we went all the way back to the beginning because I don't know what you were doing with him, but those first few units didn't quite get absorbed.
I realized quickly that his methods of teaching are not the best. It's basically just memorization. He doesn't really explain a lot of the inner goings. He never explained to me what the difference between a grave accent or acute accent or circumflex accent. He never explained that. He just kind of just like, just try, keep going, just keep going.
Well, Neil is typing full-blown polytonic now.
Yeah,
everybody know he has the
and I can sing Greek hexameter prose, which I've never seen him ever do on his channel, which is it's not that hard, by the way. I'm not saying that's hard. Once you learn how to do the meter, it's pretty easy.
So Neo Prototype in the chat really loves to nitpick pronunciation.
Then did you see today when Ammon brought up Mark 14? He nailed the first line. He nails the first line, and then he says "sindon epiguno."
But then he said
"sindon,"
but he said
"epigumnu." He totally misses the accent marks, bro. This is your favorite verse in the Bible. You should have this memorized without even have to look at it by now.
Well, and I think he dropped a syllable in periblemenos.
Yeah, he said periblemenos. He missed one of the b. So he said periblemenos. It's periblemenos.
But Neo Prototype really doesn't like it when you say meles catalabane. When you say a, he wants the
Ammon says to ignore accents and pronunciation. That's really fucking top notch.
Well,
that's top notch.
I have I had a whole reel like highlighting his pronunciation fails that I cut out of the Myth Vision video to save time so it wouldn't be 6 hours. And he tells people how to do it, but then he says don't worry about it. He knows.
And I mentioned this when you and I were recording. He knows. He never let me finish a sentence if I missed the accent. So he knows a lot of. I know he knows better than this, but then I don't know what he's when he gets on his channel, he turns into a whole different. Becomes a theologian rather than a teacher. Yeah. Becomes a mystic or something. Anyways, I don't want to keep talking about. I want to get into the sources because you and I were watching. You are the boogeyman for him. You're like the Beetlejuice of Ammon Hillman. He will not say your name.
But he definitely
he's scared of you.
But he's scared of you. He saw the part of the video that I jumped into. Yeah. He knows I was on it.
He refuses to say your name like you're a demon, like a magical demon from the PGM. That if your name is invoked, all hell will break. He can't say your name. It's like he's scared of you. And you've been telling Danny Jones for over almost a year now. Maybe not that long, at least over 6 months now. I'll debate Ammon Hillman on this. I'll bring all the sources. I don't care. And
he asked him again, right? He invited him again.
Yep.
To debate me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like
he says no. He's
gonna watch this.
He wants an easy T-ball matchup. He wants someone who doesn't know Greek. He keeps saying, bring me the best scholars, bring me people who actually know Greek. And then the person he finally accepts is an exorcist who doesn't even know a lick of Greek. And then you're going to go on your channel and act like it's a victory.
Yeah.
It's like the Roman legions going into some like boarded up, abandoned, old barbarian community. There's no one even living there anymore except for one homeless dude, and they conquer it, and then they have a whole full blown what's it called when the victory lap, you know what I'm talking about, where Caesar gets crowned and all that. That's what he's acting like. You didn't conquer anything. You didn't do shit with Bob Larson. Bob Larson doesn't know anything. What is this, T-ball? You have everybody challenging you, and you're denying all of them and running scared. And then every time someone actually brings an argument, he just sidesteps it like I saw today. When I saw that video today, I was laughing. Because he doesn't even show his audience the numbers. Should we bring up the text to show them what we're talking about?
Sure.
Or actually, first, let's play the clip. Let's play the clip from me and Witch Doctor real quick, so we can get everyone on speed to what exactly we're talking about. There might be someone in the audience who has no idea what we're talking about. So what I want to do is I want to play this clip of what happened yesterday, and then we'll get to Ammon's rebuttal, and then we're going to break down the Greek. So just give me a minute. I'm going to pull up the I'm going to pull up the screen so you can see here. Witch Doctor did the video with me. It was where we started talking about the where is it? Before this. Was it before this? The Neonisco thing? It was after this.
You're gonna pull up the original first. No, it was early. It was like the middle of it, I think.
Everything that doesn't work. I should have had this prepared. My bad, everybody. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, watch how different my argument is compared to what was shown on Lady Babylon. He censored the hell out of me. Ammon Hillman is not showing you my argument at all. In fact, Chewy made a mistake. Sorry, Chewy, but I got to call you out. I like you, Chewy, but you accidentally clipped in a part of the other source where I talked about them being trained in the military, and he never even addresses it. Because why would a child, a puberty child, be trained in the military? By the way, remember, prepubescent has always been Ammon's argument. He's always said prepubescent. He doesn't say just after puberty, which he started to backtrack today. Today, in his own video, he starts talking about just when they start hitting puberty. No, that's not what you've been saying. You've been saying underage kids that are under puberty this entire time. Why the backtracking now? So we're getting him to move a little bit now. That's pretty good. Yeah. Anyways, let's play this clip and we'll go from there. Niskos, Diogenes Laertius gives a list. He doesn't say one is a child, one is a young man. He literally tells you there's numbers in the work. Numbers. He gives you the numbers. That's what he says. He says a pais is a child for 20 years. And then he says Niskos is 20. Okay. And then look at this one. Epictetus says, first he says a pais, where when you were a child, you did this. And then he goes, when you were an adolescent, merakion. And then the third category was when you were at Niskos, you were involved in politics, pleading cases yourself, and earning a good reputation. Where was this today in Ammon's stream? Why didn't he rebuttal? Why didn't he rebut this? Why didn't he bring up Epictetus at all?
He was determined to get like a little tiny soundbite.
Just a thought for you guys out there. I'm just wondering, why don't you guys ask him when you talk to him in your paid Greek classes? Hey, what's up with Epictetus? How come you didn't bring that one up? Or the one before this, Diogenes Laertius, that we just saw right here. Look at, he says, Neaniskos Theros, a youth in summer, right? And it says up here, Neanithos, and then there's the number 20, but the Greek doesn't have a number there, right?
Well, no, the Greek has a number. It's just the bottom section. He's saying that this age is equivalent to spring. This age is equivalent to summer. In the bottom section, the top section, there are numbers.
Yeah.
So I wrote in those numbers in the Greek.
So he has ekosi, right? Ekosi.
Well, I say ekosi. You can say ekosi.
Ekosi. All right. Let me just so people. We're gonna go back. Don't worry. I'm gonna keep playing this. But here we are, right?
Yeah.
So look at this. This is the original Greek of Diogenes Laertius, Lives of the Philosophers, saying that Pythagoras, the old philosopher Pythagoras from the classical period, one of my heroes, one of all of the greats, right? He says himself that a Niskos is ekosi. 20.
Ekosi.
Ekosi. I got that accent.
Yeah.
Ekosi. So look at why don't you tell him this? Why didn't you refute this? Why didn't you at least acknowledge it today? Yeah. Why are you running scared right now? Why can't you tell your audience this?
What this system means is that it's from 20 to 40. That's the range of the Neaniskos or Neaniskos in Diogenes Laertius, according to him of what he thought Pythagoras believed.
Right. And so let's keep going. Let's see what else I brought forth that he ignored. And then look at this one. Epictetus says, first he says a pais, where when you were a child, you did this. And then he goes, when you were an adolescent, merakion. And then the third category was when you were at Niskos, you were involved in politics, pleading cases yourself, and earning a good reputation. Look at what it says right there. Kai ede epolitue tuo, kai dikas, pleading politics and pleading your cases, autos eleges kai eldokimes, which is good reputation, earning a good reputation, right? There's no how else you translate this? That you were playing with toys in a sandbox?
Yeah, well, the point is also that he's putting it after the Mirakion, right? Mirakion is adolescent that comes before the stage of life that he's calling Neaniskos.
Exactly. He puts it last after Pais, after Mirakion, and then he says that these Neaniskos are involved in politics and pleading cases. Is that a child? Is that a pre-puberty child? Come on, man.
And if you go back one slide, you will also see at the bottom of Diogenes Laertes, he says, Omen Neaniskos Mirakion. He's saying that Mirakion and Neaniskos are the same in this system. So,
but he never in today's whole entire 2-hour live stream, however how long it was, the only thing he focused on was the dating of the Hippocratic corpus, which we didn't even get to yet. I mean, he clipped out 90% of what I said, focused on the one thing that I got something. Yes, we got him. Chewy, we got him. Chewy, we got him. It was a non sequitur too. It doesn't matter when the Hippocratic corpus was. It was cited by Philo, which we're going to get to. So it's at least as old as the 1st century BC. Probably 3rd century BC. Fine. It's part of the Hippocratic corpus. It's still a medical text that Galen's using in the 2nd century. It's still one of the texts that you're supposed to know, which I think you did know this, but you don't care because you need the child. He needs the naked boy and Mark. By the way, Mark's written in the 1st century anyway.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I missed out on a part of it. Was he conceding that in this text that he's rejecting because it's too late? Was he conceding that?
No, he doesn't explain why that matters, that it's too late.
Okay.
He's taking his audience that's not paying attention because half of them don't care. Half of them don't have no idea what's going on.
Because it felt to me like a concession.
Let me just say something real quick. If you followed Ammon this long and you still think he's right, you're either not paying attention or you're not very bright. I could say I'm gaslighting. But what he did right there was he said, oh, Hippocratic corpus, that's not the same as Hippocrates. Hippocrates lived in the 5th century BC. The Hippocratic corpus is later. Okay, what does it have to do with the source? What does that have to do with what the text actually says? Nothing. He never actually makes any argument that it matters at all. He just wants something to bring up because the people that are watching, it's like a huge gaslight thing. You don't understand what I'm saying? It's a huge sidestep. It's be like me being like, Stephen, you're a liar. You think 2 + 2 is 5. What are you talking about? And then you're like, well, your hat is brown, so you're wrong. Like, it's totally non sequitur. It has no bearing on the actual argument.
Did he concede that a Neaniskos is from 21 to 28 in that text?
He ignores it. He pretends it's not even there. It was so fascinating to watch. It was so fascinating to watch. We're going to play the clip in a minute too. So let's continue this. Held for 20 years. And then he says Neaniskos is 20. Okay. And then look at this one. Epictetus says, first he says a Pais, where when you were a child, you did this. And then he goes, when you were an adolescent, Mirakion. And then the 3rd category was when you were a Neaniskos, you were involved in politics, pleading cases yourself, and earning a good reputation. I'm sorry, but that's not a child. And then was one more big one.
Be like a later teen.
Oh, Delos inscription. Here we go. Look at this one. It literally has Neaniskos encouraging them, and it says them talking about the Neaniskos. First of all, it says Paidon, children. Then it says Ephibs are the next one. And then it gets into Neaniskos, and then it says, look, they're doing military training. What the hell? That's not a child. And then one more big one. So that's another one he ignores, but somehow that last part, military training, gets clipped into his rebuttal. And the whole time I'm watching, I kept going, why don't you ever talk about the military training? Why don't you bring that up? Why don't you refute that? He can't. He's running. He's running from the data. He's running from the sources. You're not guarding the sources. You're lying about the sources. The Muse doesn't like that. The Muse hates liars. So don't act like the Muse is telling you these are the sources. That's full of crap. Anyway, let's keep playing. This is from Ammon should know this. This is from the Hippocratic corpus. This is medical text. This is Ammon's domain, which is true. That's a fact. Galen is 2nd century AD. Doesn't matter when this text was written. Anyways, bro, aren't you reading your own sources? Look what it says. Look what it says in here. Also, remember, Mark's 1st century AD anyway. So it doesn't matter when this was. All right, go ahead. This is from 5th century BCE. Just as in nature, human nature, there are 7 now that I'm wrong about 5th century BC. concede. Does it have any bearing on what I'm saying? No. But that's watch how much he focuses on that. Periods, which we call ages. Paidion, Pais, Merakion, then Neoniskos. And then then he tells you the ages. He says a Paidion is an infant that lasts until 7 years. All right. So watch how he responds to this. And then we're going to get to the text. So this is the Dragon Master coming to rebuttal. So after everything you just saw, here's his response to what you just saw. This is pathetic. Watch this. Oh, all right, the volume down. That's not a child. And then one more big one. This is from.
We're going to see it several times. Go ahead.
Then it gets into Neoniskos, and then it says, look, they're doing military training. What the hell? That's not a child. And then one more big one. Nor is that part. This is from Ammon should know this. This is from the Hippocratic Corpus. This is medical text. This is Ammon's domain. Bro, aren't you reading your own sources? Look what it says. Look what it says in here. This is from 5th century BCE. Just as in nature, too, human nature, there are 7 periods which we call ages. Paidion, Pais, Merakion, then Neoniskos. Watch this. Watch how you respond. And then then he tells you the ages. He says a Paidion is an infant that lasts until 7 years. He then says a Pais is a child that lasts until the beginning of puberty. Then he says a Merakion lasts until 21. And then he says, notice how clear the Greek is right there. Until the beginning of puberty, right? So the Merakion says akri geniu laknosios esta and 21 years old, it says in the other. So you up until there's facial hair, right? The one before that, and the child says pais, says diakri gunes ekfusios esta, up until the beginning of puberty. And so the Neoniskos is after puberty, and it's not even after puberty, it's after the next category, Merakion.
Yeah.
So what is he? Watch what his genius response to this is. It says Neoniskos is a youth that's in their 20s, basically. That's what he says. I mean, I don't care. All I care about is the sources.
Wow. If it were only true.
Because it is. I literally taken a beating over the last few months from these people because I'm telling the truth. Do you think I want this to be the case? I would rather have a nice and smooth ride and get all the likes and attention. But no, I'm telling the truth about the sources and people hate it. So
that you could care more, because here's the problem. That is not a Hippocratic work. It is.
Notice what just happened right there.
Yeah.
The first thing he focuses on is where the work was written by who and when. Not what the text says, which is all that matters here. It's not a Hippocratic corpus.
It feels like a concession to me, though. It feels like a concession.
It does.
Otherwise, he would say the problem is that's not what it says, and here's why. And then
explain. He never gets into the text ever.
It's a work that is written later than the 5th.
How later? What, a century and a half later? That's it. That's all you got.
It's a Hellenistic work that is oftentimes grouped.
Why would it being a Hellenistic work make it worse when we're talking about a 1st century AD text, Mark, written around 70? The fact that this is later is better, is actually more likely that Mark would know this because it's closer to his time period, not worse. You know how bad this argument is so far?
But people were eating it up, man.
With Hippocratic works.
Oh my God. I'm watching the crowd. It's like they don't know what's going on. I felt bad for some of them. They don't even know what's going on half the time. Oh, Neil got a beating.
Now, what he just tried to translate for you there, and I want to make it perfectly clear. I taught this person.
You did.
They made it up to Unit 3.
I did.
And then stopped.
And why did I stop? You guys want to know why I stopped? Because he told me that I'm no longer doing one-on-ones. You have to pay to be in a class of 10 other people. And I said, I can't do that. I need a one-on-one teacher. Sorry. He wanted me to pay the same amount of money to be in a class with 10 people and get less attention. So if you're going to do group work.
Sounds like a brothel to me.
Then he can do less teaching, because he used to work his ass off. He used to work full time. Every hour he had a new student, one-on-ones. And then he blew up on Danny Jones, and now he figured it out. I can just get 10 people in a class, get the same amount of money, and only work 2 hours a week instead of 40 hours a week. And now I'm free to do my show like a grown up, like a little kid. I can do whatever I want. No bills. Isn't that awesome? So he's decided, screw these one-on-ones. I don't care about one-on-ones. I'll just make everybody join a class, and they can all pay me the same amount of money, and I'll only work 2 hours instead of 50. Oh, wow. Genius. Great. Good for you. You figured it out. But I'm not going to be a part of that. So that's why I got a hold of you right away. And we started working on Greek, which we've been doing, which I think I've learned a lot since then. I think I have enough right now that I can hold my own. And I can explain these Greek texts. At least if I don't know it right off the bat, I can figure it out. Like, I know how to, you know what I'm saying? I can know how to work my way around this.
At the very least, you work your ass off. Like, you have a really, really good work ethic.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm an expert that I can teach this stuff yet, or that I'm better than him. I think he's still better than me. Obviously, he's been doing it longer than me. But then again, if the standard of who can teach this is how long you've been doing it, then why is Ruck being ignored when Carl Ruck told you twice that Nianiskos is a young man and not a child? Why? He got his PhD in 1969. Carl Ruck got his PhD from Harvard in 1969. And he told you twice that Nianiskos is not a boy, it's a young man. And you just ignored him. So where's this? You drop your standard when it comes to Ruck? All of a sudden, does it matter how long you've been doing Greek for? See what I'm saying? It's all bullshit. It's all nonsense. It's all sidestepping bullshit. It's all just, he's the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. He's doing Plato's Cave. He's controlling the narrative. It's all nonsense. So I'm going to let him talk a little longer, and then we'll go to the Greek.
Okay. Private sessions. Okay. This person is not qualified to be translating Greek.
Gaslight. Either my arguments stand up or they don't. Doesn't matter how long I've been doing it for. Either what I'm saying is if the argument stands up or it doesn't, which we're about to get into. So he's gaslighting right now.
Yeah.
No more so than Kip. No more so than anybody belonging to the brothel, including.
I mean, I don't think Kip would take offense by this, but I think my Greek is a little bit better than Kip at this point, although my Hebrew is nowhere near Kip, which is why I'm going to learn Hebrew from Kip. But see how it's just he's gaslighting right now.
The professors that are there, and one is about to get caught in that arena, people. I just want to throw that out to you.
Get caught in that arena? You won't even step into the arena. So why don't you step? I think he's talking about Gad Barnea there, who, by the way, knows Greek pretty good. Gad knows his Greek. But you won't step in the arena. I've been challenging you for the last 4 months, 3 months now. Maybe not that long, 2 months now. To talk about this stuff. And you won't do it. If my Greek is so bad and I'm so below you, then you should have a field day like you did with Barb Larson. You should want to embarrass me. This should be an easy T-ball. You love T-ball. So why don't you want to play T-ball with me? I'm just a beginner, right? Because you know that I'm going to bring arguments that you can't refute.
Right? I just want to throw it out. It's absolutely gorgeous. So look, people, I need to be professional tonight. And I need to just tell you, look, the source that he's talking about is the heptamedes, right? And
so
give me the very first. Yeah, people. Okay. Look at Hippocrates. It's in, is it actually Hippocrates? No, put it in quotes. Perihebdomadon. Right? Not even that.
Have you noticed that he has not even touched the text yet?
Yeah.
He's just dancing around this text because the text says something that he does not like. He's talking about who wrote it, when. Does that really matter when Mark is in the 1st century AD?
Well, and we have a lot of texts like this that he would have to do this to.
And that's what he didn't do. He ignored
Yeah.
my first 3 sources. He skipped to the last source because he caught me on one little non sequitur that he can harp on. This is a diddler right in front of your face right now. Diddling 600 people live. That's what he's doing. He skips the first 3 sources because he had nothing he can refute on those, finds me dating the 4th source wrong, and focuses on just that. He never gets into the text.
Not even that title. Oh, look at me. I got all fuzzy. Not even that title. Here. Not even that title. There we go. Is part of the original, right? That's later. All that stuff is later. By the way, most of this treatise, which is from the 3rd, right? Yeah.
Wait. So Galen's from the 2nd century AD. Should we not read Galen? Are you not going to talk about Galen? Aren't you an expert on all medical texts, regardless of what period it's from? And by the way, once again, back to this point that I'm going to keep drilling home. Why does this being 3rd century BC matter for the argument that I'm putting forth at all in any way? It doesn't. He's just hoping his audience that's drooling and looking up into space doesn't understand what's going on, and they just see that he's confident and saying random stuff, so they think this is a rebuttal. That's all that. It's all damage control this time. What do you think?
Yes, I agree.
I'm
just waiting for him to say something. I watched this already, and I'm like waiting for him to say something I haven't heard.
Let's wait. Let's see if he does. He doesn't.
Late 4th, 3rd. Most of this stuff is not.
Notice how he said late 4th, 3rd. Oh wow, it's written a century after I thought it was.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm wrong now. I got the date off by a century, even though it's still 3 centuries before Mark's even written.
Has nothing to do with Hippocratic anything.
What?
Right? It only got shoved into this collection of what you and I call Hippocrates, the Cohen and Cnidian schools.
Is that? I don't know if that's true.
Of the Hippocratics that had grown and started to blossom. Right? This has nothing to do with it.
Do you want to know why that's not true? And I can prove it.
Why?
Because Philo cites this text in the 1st century BC as the Hippocratic corpus. So it wasn't modern scholars that shoved this in there. If Philo knew about it in the 1st century, in fact, do you want to just go to that now?
Yeah.
All right.
He cites it almost verbatim.
Yeah.
Slide 106.
Yeah. So this is obviously this one. I just want to show people where it says in the Greek, eikosi, right?
Yeah. Well,
and then 106, Philo cites the Hippocratic corpus, right? So he knows about this. And he says, Neoniskos, akris, oxesios, olo, tu somatos, esta tetrakis hepta. So he literally says tetrakis hepta.
Tetrakis hepta means 4 times, or first, second, once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 7.
That's how they counted in Greek back then.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just say 28 like we do. They would say 4. Yeah. So they
could have said 28, but they're saying it's 4 times 7.
Yeah.
So that's the number.
Up to 28 years old is a neoniskos. By the way, Philo is literally undeniable. One of the major sources for the early Christians, like Mark and John. So Mark would have been aware of this chart from Philo, most likely, more than any other source, probably. Philo is writing in Greek for people in Alexandria, Jewish people, Greeks in Alexandria, and whatnot. And Mark was living in Alexandria right after Philo. So if this is like the source this is like the best source we can find for what Mark's Neoniskos would be. 1st century. Philo died in 50 AD. Mark's written in 70 AD. Philo writes that a Neoniskos is up to 28. And he says after a Merakion, which is up to 21. It's a 20-year-old kid, man. I'm sorry. He wants it to be a pre-puberty boy so bad because he wants it to be this dirty thing, that's cool thing that only he found. This is what everyone does. This is what Ralph Ellis does. This is what all these grifters do, whether it's for money or it's for narcissism, doesn't matter. They want to be special. Look what I found that no one else could find. That's what it's all about. Look at me. Look how great I am. I found out that Mark means this, and no one else in the world knew this but me. Yeah. So what do you want to do? You want to?
We broke down a lot of sources at the end of that stream with Witch Doctor from his Toxicology and Antiquity, and he chose not to say anything about anything except this. This is the one thing he got hung up on.
Yeah,
and,
the whole entire stream. He never mentioned. Let's see, the stream, 1 hour and 45 minutes. He never brings up. Let's see. Look at this. He never brings up Diogenes Laertius. Oh, and I do want to get to Hesychius. People are going to ask about that. And I know you read that one already. He never brings up Diogenes Laertius, where he literally, I can't stress this enough, says, Naniskos ekosi. Naniskos ekosi. Youth for 20. He literally tells you this. Ammon just ignores it. Pretends it never happened. Oh, yeah, right job, master. Great rebuttal, master. That was a master rebuttal right there. You're running away like a master, right? That's what masters do. They run away from sources. And then he ignores Epictetus discourses where he talks about Neoniskos that are involved in politics. Yeah, there's your pre-puberty boy, right? Involved in politics, pleading cases. That's definitely a pre-puberty boy all day long. And then he ignores the Delos inscription because why would what's here to talk about? It's all not good for his theory. His theory falls apart when he looks at the sources. The sources don't support his theory. And then we didn't even talk about Philo, but Philo's citing the Hippocratic. The only reason why I didn't bring up Philo in the discussion is because it's not his source. It's the Hippocratic corpus. So I brought that in. Then he brings up this one and only focuses on my dating of the text. If you're paying attention, you should feel disrespected by this. That he just jumped on and said, I'm going to do a master rebuttal and lied right to your face. There's another one right here. What's this one about?
Well, and this is, Hippocrates' aphorisms. I don't know if this is like super authentic, but here clearly the Neoniskos is after puberty, explicitly after puberty, because the previous one, it says whatever illnesses persist in children and are not resolved around the time of puberty. That's the border between being a child and being a Neoniskos. It's after puberty.
You can't get any closer than that. This is your source, dude.
Well, go to the next one, dude. The next one is like, okay,
Brandon, hold on. Look at here we go. Here comes the apologists. Here they come. Without his rebuttal, you've admitted to 3 things wrong.
What does that mean? What's that?
The dating?
What does that mean? I don't know.
I don't know this guy. I don't know what he's talking about. All I know is this guy just wants Ammon to be right. No matter what no matter what you throw at this guy. So it could have been this. It could have been this.
Go to the next one. Give me the next one.
All right. Give me the next one, Chewy.
Ptolemaeus of Ascalon. Right? This is, I believe, 2nd century BC. Again, it's like, I don't know why these dates matter, but this is a super clear. The metatafta mirakion, ita mirax, ita neaniskos, ita neanias. Then the teenager, then the young adult, then the youth, then the young man. Right? The youth is neaniskos. It's after mirax. And this is a whole, like, this guy breaks out all of the categories.
Brandon, I want you to type in the chat. Why would this source being 100 to 150 years later matter? For me saying that it's saying that a Neoniskos is a 20-year-old. All right. Fair enough. Let's see how, I almost want to bring him on for a second and just ask him, why would it matter? Etymology.
Well, it also is worth pointing out, etymology means nothing.
I don't know what that means.
It's worth pointing out, though, that these sources don't exactly agree with each other on all of the precise orders, right? It's all relative.
Sure.
It's just that I have been digging in compiling these sources. I have not found one where Neaniskos could be conceivably a prepubescent boy. If I did, I would include it as like exhibit B, or like it would be in here. I have no reason to hide it. I just can't find it.
Yeah.
Because because it doesn't exist, because it would contradict all of the others. So like it would contradict Greek itself. It's like Greek itself can't support that.
Yeah, and another thing that Ammon is like, this is the most typical Ammon methodology is you find one source somewhere. It doesn't matter if it's 800 AD. I've seen him do this, where it could be a source from 800 AD, and it agrees with what he wants the source from 500 BC to say, and then he backtracks every like the Koklos thing, like all those are all They started becoming interchangeable in the Byzantine period, not in the Pulaskian period, like he says. That's a whole nother topic, though.
Well, go to the next source. Go to the next source really quick, just so we can make another point.
All right.
I mean, the whole thing about military training, it is possible that they train, young prepubescent boys for military, right? But
yeah,
here in Xenophon and also in Lycurgus, in Plutarch's Lycurgus, we have confirmed, which anybody can look this up. Agoge, Agoge. Look it up. Look at the Wikipedia article. It cites its sources. The division of the Agoge started here with Pais, right? Pesteon kepediscos keivon, right? Like this is from boyhood to youth to manhood. Now, what is Hillman's argument? It's that Neanias means boy, even though it means young man, but whatever. He says Neanias means boy. Isk is the diminutive suffix, and that makes Neaniskos, which means a little boy. So he assumes that the diminutive suffix always has diminutive force, which is not true, especially in the Hellenistic period when it comes to Neaniskos, which is used more often than Neanias in the Hellenistic period. And look what we have here. Like, explain what we're seeing here, just so it's clear, because I know you understand this.
Pais teon from boyhood, kai paidiskos, and it's got there's his the diminutive, right?
Yes,
he loves these diminutives.
So what's happening?
He thinks this always means it's going to be younger, which theoretically he's right. It should, right?
It should, I'm
not saying it does. I'm saying in theory.
In theory, the diminutive would typically make something smaller.
Well, look what's happening here.
Yeah.
In this case, the pais is younger than the paidiskos.
Yes.
So the diminutive thing falls apart in language sometimes.
It doesn't. It's not that it falls apart. It's the
it's just not used that way.
Yeah, the diminutive suffix loses its diminutive force. I have a slide for this. It's when the diminutive suffix no longer has meaning. It no longer makes the thing small.
Yeah, because right here, he's saying from child and to paidiskos and then to manhood. Why would he go? Why wouldn't he have this one ahead of this one? Right?
Yeah.
So what do you think he'll say in response? It doesn't always have to be the order, right?
But this is the Spartan system. So in the Spartan system, you started as a pais and then paidiskos and then ivon, right? That may not have applied in Athens. Like you just have to think about where. But and this has nothing to do with neaniskos, other than the fact that it uses a diminutive suffix to make a pais into a paidiskos.
So you found another source? I didn't see this one yet. You found another source that says a neaniskos. This one doesn't have neaniskos, does it?
No, this one says that a pais is still 20 years old. Like pais can go all the way to 20.
You could be a child up to 20.
Which what he did in his stream was he showed that because the LSJ says that a neaniskos can sometimes be synonymous with mirakion, and then he runs to Hesychius and shows that mirakion is a child because that's the rare use, because Hesychius is defining rare usage. Sometimes you can refer to a child as a mirakion, but these categories overlap. This isn't like earth-shattering stuff.
And then once again, in this case, you have paidion, paidarion, and then paidiskos. So in this case, in Julius Pollux,
he puts paidiskos before a pais.
So this one has the diminutive force.
So this one he's saying like this is more natural that the diminutive would be a little younger, right?
Before I bring Brandon on, I want to address Hesychius because Ammon loves Hesychius. Basically, for him, Hesychius cancels out all of these sources for some reason, even though Hesychius wrote 400 years after the Gospel of Mark. 400 years after the Gospel of Mark, but for some reason that source is got how we should read Mark. But where'd you put that one?
The Hesychius for Neoniskos is I think somewhere at the top of this. Wait, you can word search it. Hold on. I think I have it in a different section. It occurs. Oh, it is 118. Sorry, it's way down there.
Yeah, I got to it.
By the way, this slideshow is almost up to 600 examples. This is a collection of Hillman's text.
By the way, I love this stuff. I actually enjoyed his stream today. By the way, I'm passionate, and I hope people are paying attention, and I hope they don't want one side to be right. I hope they're actually paying attention and weighing the arguments.
Well, also people.
By the way, Brandon, sorry for calling you apologist. I don't know why I said that.
Hillman criticizes you for reading from the English translation on the right, but I put these together for the benefit of the audience to see English and Greek side by side. He doesn't do that.
Right.
Today he
there's a reason why he doesn't do that.
I know.
Because all of the scholarship that's gone into this stuff goes against what he's saying. So either he has to make his own translation and put it on the screen and just show you his own translation, or he just shows you the Greek and then translates it on the spot. But if he did what we do and we show the Loeb translation or some sort of translation from Oxford, it's going to say the exact opposite of what he's saying. He doesn't want that. So sometimes he just shows random Greek on the screen. Sometimes he doesn't even show you doesn't even have the title on it. And you're just hoping that you're just in his hands, just all faith in him. But anyways, before I bring Brandon on, so you're saying this is an adjective here. Explain this.
Yeah, so what you see in the top is Neanias is translated as tolmiros. Tolmiros is an adjective. Tolmiros means bold. So to call someone Neanias, to call them young man, according to Hesychius, he's saying that there's this rare usage of Neanias, which is like to refer to somebody who's bold. Like, hey, you're such a Neanias for standing up to Hillman. You're so bold.
I thought the Hesychius entry had Pice in there.
The Hesychius entry that he pulled up today, I don't have in the slideshow yet. He wanted to show that Hesychius defines mirax, which is the regular form of mirakion is a diminutive of mirax. So he shows that according to Hesychius, mirax is a pes, right? Or merax is a pais. And so that means that an adolescent is a child, basically. That's what Hesychius says. He says the word adolescent, merax, is pais, is a child. And because mirakion is a younger version of a merax, that mirakion means little tiny child. And because LSJ says that in some contexts, neaniskos can be mirakion, that neaniskos has to be a little tiny child. So I understand where I know the dots he's connecting. It's just invalid. And I have LSJ and Brill entries in here. The sources don't support him. Like, he's playing games.
But here's the thing. Like, theoretically, what he's doing can work, but then you have to weigh the entire corpus of Greek against this. Like, you have to say, is the entire Greek corpus wrong and only Hesychius is right in 500 AD, right? Or is Hesychius using an adjective childish? And then all of a sudden they all work together. I wonder which one it is.
Yeah, so basically what is being claimed online is that the Ammonites are saying that according to Hesychius there, that neaniskos means baby. That's what they want him to say, because
it's a baby.
Because nepios
forget about all those primary sources that I just brought up that say it's up to 25 or whatever. Forget about all that stuff, but how them growing full hair and doing politics, and forget about all that. They're babies now.
But there is
So
another
nonsensical.
meaning. Nepios can also be an adjective meaning childish. So my reading of that entry is that he's glossing. That's what it's called. He's glossing neaniskos in the same way that he's glossing neanias. He's glossing neanias as dormiros, and he's glossing neaniskos as nepios.
Philip Blair says ADHD tends to correlate with higher IQs. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Well, I've got a lot of it. I wanted to say I disagree completely with that take. I don't think he's glossing anything. I think he broke it down, and I'm not trying to say, Neil. I even said I was like, I love you. I just think he got you on the Neaniskos thing, and the reason I say that he clarified too back. The oldest references to it are referencing it in the class of children. And I think he did make a concession.
Where?
I think, and like Pice, he said it's in the same category. And he's right. He's right. If you look it up,
He cited Hesychius. We just talked about that. That's 5th century AD.
No. He cited multiple ones. So, and yes, that is one that he referenced, but there was another too. He referenced a Homer source. I was looking at a few. Let me get to the other ones. Well, I can't read Greek even as well as you can.
Can you share your screen? Can you share your screen?
No, I'm on my phone. I need to invest in better equipment. But no, I think there's a couple things I want to say. I don't agree with the title of this. It's saying the diddling. I don't know, because there's an implication there, and you know the implication. And
the implication is he's telling you that. Well, okay, I'll tell you the implication is.
Yeah.
The implication is there was 4 sources that I presented in my video with Witch Doctor. He shows you one of them, and he doesn't even address what I said about it. He focused on the dating of it.
Yeah, and that maybe
and then gaslit that I'm not an expert. I don't have a PhD. I taught him for 3. That's all. That has nothing to do with what I said. And then that was it. That was the only argument he brought. That's why I said that's diddling to me.
I think he brought. I know. I just think he covered one part of a topic that you guys covered just a couple days ago, and he just put this together. Like you guys just covered this, and
I'm already on here ready to refute it. I don't need time.
Well, no, but my thing is, you've already admitted, and the reason I was saying that, you've already admitted to being wrong about 3 separate things. You said that
the dating of the text. I said.
And something about the document. I wish I would have written it down. I was just, and this is just stuff you just said on this stream. On this stream.
Right. No. One thing. The dating of the Hippocratic corpus, I said 5th century BC.
Yeah.
He pointed out that it was probably late 4th to early 3rd. Fine. Yeah. Let's grant that. What does that have to do with what the text says?
And not only that, you even changed it because it's more than 200 years difference. But then you said like 150 and then 100. What does that have
to do with anything?
Yeah.
Well, etymology has something to do with it. And the reason he's bringing that up, I know you disagree, and I don't even want to be I hope you know. I respect you. I respect you.
Explain what that means. Etymology.
So I think that he's focusing more on the etymological side of it because of the use of it and the use of it according to the Bible or the Septuagint when it was written or when it's purported to have been written.
He moved my text closer to Mark. He helped me out.
I don't think he's disagreeing. And that's why I said, I think he made a concession without really making a concession tonight. He admitted it to being almost teenager. It was basically,
I saw him do that. He said, he admitted today that it's after puberty. Because
I don't know if I heard that, but he did say he said something about peach fuzz. He said something about peach fuzz, and then he did. But you're right. It's definitely there's a line there. But the thing is, regardless, in today's age we think it's pedophilia back. But the question is, was it pedophilia then? Was it considered immoral at that time?
I know there's pederasty. I already talk about pederasty on my channel all the time. I know that was going on. When he started talking about peach fuzz, he was showing the definition for pice on the screen. He was no longer talking about neaniskos. That's why he was diddling everybody.
But he drew a connector. He drew a connector. The reason he did that is because he's like, the reason he did that is he was saying there's a category from like infant to a child to the young person with the peach fuzz, and then he even said like pice and neaniskos was the same. Basic, but not the same. He didn't say the same category though, like the same early age. What do you call it? Like early life or whatever the hell, the beginning of it. And then he even mentioned like going back to Genesis, and he talked, I know it was weird, but I kind of hate saying it, but the moisture or the moistness of a young woman. And he brought that text up talking about going back to Genesis, which there's nothing about from adulthood there, Yeah.
Notice what's on the screen right now.
Yeah. But this was the connection he made. This was the connection he made.
He kept doing this tonight. He kept showing definitions of everything except for Nia Niskos. And only definition he showed for Nia Niskos was when he showed this, when he showed the LSJ, which doesn't say anything about a child or a boy.
Can I say something, Neil? You make videos like a documentarian does, and he makes videos like a slideshow professor does. And that's why most of the things y'all might be missing in the picture, he is saying in the words and connecting.
When he brought up the child thing, he was using. So what he did was Hezekiah says that Nia Niskos is a child. Then he goes to the definition of child and uses that to define Nia Niskos. It's not honest.
I don't know. I think and I wish I could share my screen too. But yeah, that because I was pulling up.
You said he brought up sources. Homer is one. Let's look at that one.
But
I highly doubt Homer is saying Nia Niskos is a little kid. I highly doubt that.
No. But it was in reference to. Damn it! Let me back it up now.
And why would Homer be better of a source to define what's in Mark than Philo or the Hippocratic Corpus that are Hellenistic?
Well, because those things happened before the Hezekiah, which he values. We all know he values.
You just said something that made no sense because it was before Hezekiah.
Well, because he values it. Because he values it a lot, and that's something I'm aware of, that he does value it. But the reason he does is because
why would Mark care what Ammon values?
Well, no, it's not about that. No, I'm saying the etymology. So, and again, I guess maybe that's where we're speaking from a different perspective, and that's where he came from. I think he attacked it from an etymological standpoint of like it meant Nia Niskos before anything else.
The word Nia Niskos, according to the TLG, does not occur anywhere in Homer.
Look, right
here, and you guys actually said something.
Here, he diddled his whole audience. He shows Merox on the screen. And it's a pie. That's not a Nia Niskos. That's the one before Nia Niskos.
I know that's not the word. And he knows, everyone in there knows that's not the word. We've been following him a long time. Like
half the audience was like, "Oh my God, he got him."
No, I don't think that was what was going on. I don't think that. And I know that. And again, I told you, I love your stuff. I'm not trying to like hate on you.
This one right here has nothing to do with Nia Niskos. He shows it on the screen. He reads it.
It's the bash.
Play the boy to be bashful.
Yeah, the bashfulness is what he talked about, and then the puberty.
Hold on. Guess what though? Nia Niskos comes after Merakion.
Well, but he said
puberty.
But he even touched on that. He said that that list wasn't necessarily like an order. He mentioned how it's kind of like a subcategory structure rather than an ordering.
That's where he's lying. The list does give numbers.
The later list does. He's referencing the earlier list.
All four of them have lists. All four of them have numbers. He said in this video, that this is only about physical growth, he said. But he literally lied about that because the actual text has a list of numbers. I'll show you.
Oh no! I mean, I've seen it. I looked at it, and the thing is, and I'm not saying again. I think he made a slight concession today without actually saying it. He almost, I don't want to say he admitted to it, but there was some like talk of like almost teenage level, which maybe that might have been the thing. It's like, where is that line even in the Greek culture 2,000 years ago or whatever? I don't know. I mean,
there's okay, all right. But the point I was saying was though, he never in this video today addresses the parts of these. First of all, he doesn't even bring up, like, this is why I have every right to call it diddling. He doesn't even bring up Diogenes Laertius, the biggest part of my argument. He doesn't bring up Epictetus. He doesn't bring up the Delos. It's like this never even happened to him.
But my thing is, he and I said it last time. He teaches a class. He's gonna get to all this. I mean, and I think that is the thing. Is like he's not working at the pace you work at it like a furious pace, man. Like you really do. He's like coming at it. He's a month late on the rebuttal from the Danny Jones thing. Whenever y'all talked about what he said on the Danny Jones podcast, or whatever. And I'm not hating on him for being but you're working at the pace that I would work at, which is like this generation's pace, and he's like, I'll get to it,
Well, here's the thing though.
He's not going to get to me.
he skipped. Yeah, he never even. He's the boogeyman. He'll never mention Stephen. He skips the three sources.
I'm trying.
He skips the three sources that I bring. And when he talks about this source right here, he never addresses the stuff that I have in bold. Dis hepta, 14 years old for Pais. Then it says Tris hepta, 21 years old for Memarakion.
But he said that's bullshit, and I agree. Everything I've looked at, that's bullshit.
Why is it bullshit? Why?
Well, because this is a later. He's talking. So, and this is the thing.
Stop. You said that's a later. One thing at a time. I'm sorry. You're like me. You're scatterbrained. This is a later what? This is
the reference. The reference that y'all had initially given, and especially his Hezekias argument is a later reference. He's referencing the etymology like 500 years prior to the Bible being written, where it came from, and then how it would have been used through that time, because we don't have an early one sec. We don't have an earlier reference like 100 years right before the Bible. It was like we had.
We do. I just said that. We have Philo right here.
That's
Philo.
But he mentioned Philo. He went over Philo in the video. He touched on Philo.
That's a few decades before the Gospel of Mark was written.
But
he never addresses. Philo says that a Neoniskos is a tetrarchy's hepta up to 28. This is 2 decades before Mark was written.
Yeah, and the thing is, and that's where I said I think there was a concession, because he mentioned Philo and he brought up the credibility of Philo in this video. So I don't know.
What about this then? Philo's citing this text right here
of the sevens, and that's the one he referenced, which I think that he was right on that, and I've looked that up.
Right about what?
About it being, it's more like subcategory rather than not chronology.
That has nothing to do with what the text says. He's talking about it being a Hippocratic. It's a non sequitur. You know what a non sequitur is?
Yes, like one thing. What this doesn't lead to that, or yeah.
It doesn't matter if this is from He said this is not from Hippocrates himself. Fine, I'll grant that. I'm fine with that. What does that have to do with what the text actually says?
Well, he's saying that wasn't the original meaning, and that's what and I think he's right on that. He's saying this was a later addition, which he's right on that again. That this was
before Mark.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Neil, can you?
I don't know. And that's where I wish that he would speak on this, because he knows a lot more. And the thing is, I researched it after I wanted to look it up, because I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? And I looked at it afterwards. And I was like, all right, yeah, he's right. That he's definitely right on this. And I know that's and people need to address that. Like, we should say he is right on this. Well, no, that he, at the very least, there's multiple references to it being somebody with like prepubescent level.
Where
there isn't.
In his video, he mentioned it.
No, he shows you the definition for Pais and Maracas. Those are not Neoniskos.
No, but and he has the references, and then he has the references of how that's in the same category. Pais and Neoniskos is in the same category.
Neil, can you do me a favor?
We already talked about this.
Neil, can you do me a favor?
Hezekias's adjective to somehow cancel out all of these primary sources that disagree with him. That's what he's doing.
So no, but this you're right. This is the Hezekias argument, but it's also the Ammon Hillman argument, and you said something right before I came on. Well, I know you're disagreeing, but just real quick, you said something right before I came on. He would be disagreeing with most modern Greek.
Most ancient sources before every ancient source.
Well, no, not every, because there's some that agree with him, and that's the thing.
Doesn't agree with him. He's using an adjective.
No, I know. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, and he's referenced different people in different areas, and same with you. We all have different scholars and history that can agree with things that we believe. But my point I'm bringing. Sorry,
you gotta back it up. You can't just say that. I disagree. What you just said is not, to what my knowledge, is wrong. You mentioned Homer. You didn't give a source. You said he brought sources.
He has it on here. I mean,
Homer never uses the word nanny.
You're being diddled a little bit. You got to pay attention to what he's saying.
I don't know. See, and that's the thing, is the implication, even that, like the diddling. And the thing is,
don't you care if you're being lied to? Wouldn't you care if someone was lying to you, or do you not care?
Yes, I do, absolutely. And the thing is that you said something earlier that I absolutely disagree with him. That if he was saying that you needed to pay for the thing after he was doing it free, yeah, that's fucked up. Like, so I mean, there's certain things. I'm not trying to be. And you called me an apologist right before I came on. And I know you apologize, but in a way, you called it to me. You said that about me last time too, but I'm not. I just am searching for truth. I'm searching for truth. And that's the only reason I even ever come on here.
I respect that you come on here. Stephen, what were you going to say? I'm sorry, Stephen.
I sent you a link in the private chat to the LSJ entry for Neaniskos. I think it's important to show it.
All right.
I have it on the slideshow, but people are
Which
suspicious
one?
of the slideshow.
Which one? The youth or there's two of them here.
Just show it. Just show
Open it up.
show
And
Neaniskos.
Steven, no offense, you don't understand it even close. I mean, he brought you up, like he did. He brought, or at least brought up the episode that you were a part of.
Yo, he
So
showed the thumbnail. Yeah.
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 So to
Hold on,
the
let's
top
even-
one,
let's
hit
even
LSJ.
focus- Yeah,
Let's pretend that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
No, you do. I like your website. I have it saved, man. It's a good website.
Right.
All right,
Thank
cool.
you so much.
Which one do you want to go to?
The top one, to hit LSJ instead of middle adult, right? So what do we see here, right? Like I said, pretend I don't know anything, right? Like it's dense.
This is Alice. Remember how great Alice is, everyone? Sometimes Alice isn't good whenever Ammon doesn't like it.
So what you can see is that the categories are kind of blurry, right? It's saying that in Herodotus, and I have this source in the slideshow, so we can go back to it.
Yeah.
Herodotus,
I got it right here.
Histories, chapter 3, 53, says that the same youth is called both Neanis and Neaniskos, right? Those terms in Herodotus in that passage are synonymous. The same like basically that diminutive suffix that you're saying is so important, the etymology, the morphology of the word, it's no longer by the time of Herodotus, this iskos thing isn't working anymore. In later Greek, Neaniskos is more common than Neanias. So
Do you
if
want
in the
to look
classical
at that passage by Herodotus real quick to show them?
Sure. Well, let's just get to the end of this. So then it says then in antiphon in 3, 4, 6, and 8.
Yeah.
Again, the same person. Now here, the same person is called Neaniskos and Mirakion, and this is Steele Manning Hillman. Steele Manning Hillman. He's saying that because in this case, the eldest son of Socrates, who's how old? I don't know. He's called both Neaniskos in one source and a Mirakion in another source. So LSJ is pointing out that these categories have overlap, right? That a Neaniskos can also be a Mirakion and vice versa. Then it's citing the what is it? PLAP. You can click on it.
Plato.
Yeah, Plato, and then also in Plato, he's again saying it's pais ekosi etea, right? 20 years of a child. Neaniskos ekosi, and this is again going back to that Platonic system. It's again a child for 20 years and then a Neaniskos for 20 years.
Wait,
it's
right here, it literally says Neanias 20 right here.
This is Pythagoras.
Yeah.
You see
It's literally in Alice, 20 years old. Neanias.
And I would be curious about his rebuttal. Again, you guys and y'all obviously are way deeper into this particular subject. But the reason I'm here is to say this about him. I think that he is honestly looking for it, and he did play by the end very soft gloves with you, Neil, because I think he feels like father-son relationship almost, because it's like
still like Ammon.
Because by the end he was saying a couple things. He was basically saying, I've had exposure to a lot of different texts, and the thing is and I have the same issue, and I know that y'all do. It's kind of an ADHD thing. I can in my brain see everything that I want to reference, but obviously I can't show it like even on a screen right now. Much less like reference it in words, that's why Cross Bible's an awesome website. That's something that does that for
Look right here.
Yeah.
Neaniskos ekosi, right here.
That's a number. It's not like subject to interpretation. It's just a number.
Telling you, what is it? 20? Ikosi 20?
20, yeah.
And he talked about that though. He talked about this.
It says it right here in Alice.
He
That Neaniskos is 20 years old.
And sorry, one point. The line below that.
Right here, everyone.
Yeah. The
Can you
line
read
below
Greek?
that says more frequently than Neanias in later Greek.
Yeah.
That means that the shift happens where in the classical period, a Neaniskos is younger than a Neanias, and in the Hellenistic period, in Mark, you're just calling people Neaniskos, like little man, right?
There's two perspectives.
There's nothing on this list at all that suggests child. Anything, nothing.
And I agree. And there's like two angles you could take on it, which I think his angle is that he doesn't agree with this scholarship,
I thought Alice
and that's what y'all referenced real quick, and that's what y'all referenced. You referenced like Brill and stuff. Maybe all those people are wrong. Maybe Ammon is right. The other side, there's another like conspiratorial side, which I lean kind of that way, but you could look at it like also the kids. We're maturing a lot earlier now. So what if maturity was like 17, 18? And then so that 20 isn't so far from what he said tonight, which I think that's where that line was kind of, he kind of almost said like, yeah, okay, it could be up to, maturity, which,
Right.
I mean, that's what I was hearing anyway, or at least up to like teens. That's what I was kind of like understanding. But he was saying a lot of the references that he knew of, at least the ones that he was bringing were, way younger children. Or I mean, I would say a child today, 12 years old,
I never saw him ever bring a source besides Hezekias. Let's just grant Hezekias. He found one source. Other than that, I've never seen a single source provided by Ammon or anybody that says a Neoniskos is a pre-puberty child. Ever.
Well, I think he did. I don't know. I think he talked about it a lot. Like I watched the whole.
I know he does.
I watched the whole thing tonight too, like I usually do. I mean, it seems like we usually talk after he has a kind of a wild video like this one. I mean, and this was one of those. So I think the bringing up, I know it sounds weird, the moistness aspect, which sounds weird. He linked it exactly to another.
It's not weird in Greek culture though. They actually believe that you lost your moisture as you got older, right?
Well, it's kind of true. I mean, it's like, yeah.
But notice how I'm not defending any theory here. Ammon is the one who has the theory that needs to be defended. Ammon needs Mark 14 to say that there was a young pre-puberty boy in the park that had somehow got stained anus on purple. That doesn't show up in there, but somehow that's there. And they were drinking the excretion of the vaginal drug from a source in the PGF. And then Jesus gets arrested for being
so why does the current pope have the nard on his coat of arms? You remember I brought that up and you never addressed that. You never addressed that. So you don't think this is some deep conspiracy, but the current pope right now has Nardos on his fucking coat of arms. That is a huge red flag. That's a huge red flag, and that is. Christianity and Ammon might be onto something.
I'm not defending the Catholic Church or anything,
but the Catholic Church is what established Christianity, so you have to acknowledge them.
Hold on, nard is the oil that Jesus is anointed.
Nardos isn't just an oil. You know that. Nardos is the plant.
Did you hear what I just said?
And the plant is on his flag. It's not the.
I just said nard is the oil that Jesus is anointed with by Mary.
Right.
That's it.
And well, there's a couple other stories. The one that about Mother Mary having it in her coochie and whatnot,
which isn't in the source either.
But again, the source is established by who? By who? The Catholic canon was established. They chose the text that got to be put in and got to were taken out and whatnot.
Ammon's still reading into their text. It's eisegesis. It's all theories.
I think he's reading into all of it. He's read from the gospel. He read from the gospel of Thomas.
Doesn't say that Mary jams the dildo in his ass. It doesn't say that.
No, I know. But the thing is, there are some out there, and I know he's referenced it. So I don't want to say I'm not speaking for him. I just am speaking because I want to find the truth. And if it is the truth that there's something deeper here, why would the Pope have nard on his flag right now, the coat of arms? And this is the Pope. This is the one, and also a lot of people are saying this could be the last Pope, essentially, before the Antichrist Pope or whatever the hell is supposed to come. I don't know if it's true. Obviously,
you believe the Bible, then.
Most of the world does. So it makes sense that we should be looking at. I agree, but we should be looking at least somebody might be pushing the prophecy. Not that it's necessarily true that it could be being pushed. And why the Pope has a nard on his flag is a very important part of this whole point that you're saying, because you're disregarding everything, but you're like, why would the Pope have that on his flag if Ammon isn't right?
Because
we should look at it like that.
Oil that Jesus is anointed with in the Gospels.
Well, no, but it's way more than that, because the whole aspect. Why does he have that? Remember, that's the star. What star? Remember what star is on the flag?
Yeah, that's got the 8-pointed star. It's the one that you see on Virgo and on Aphrodite.
It's Lucifer's star.
8-pointed star. Yeah.
Well, so and Nardos being on there. And the thing is, and if you look at what Judaism says about Jesus, that he's boiling in excrement, and that he's boiling in, or semen and excrement is what it says, or whatever.
No,
There's a whole lot there that needs to be looked at.
I want to focus on what happened today in that video. There's another person after you, but
Oh man, you're cutting me off. I have good points here. You have to like acknowledge that.
I'm trying to get anybody to come and give me some good arguments of why the sources that I presented.
That's like looking at it right here. You got to be like right here. We're if you're looking for the truth, you got to look at the whole picture. And why does the current Pope have that on his flag? Why does he have Lucifer's star on his flag with Nardos on his flag?
We'll talk about this on another live show. I promise. I'll let you. I'm always going to have you on.
You said that last time.
Yeah, but this time I'm responding to a video that was about me. That's all.
Well, and I brought that up. I'm bringing it up right now. Okay, we don't even have to go on that. My point is, I'll get off here. I just wanted to bring this up, and I respect both of you guys. I don't want no hate.
Next time you come and you have a source that Ammon brought, like Homer, you mentioned Homer, you got to bring that. Please bring it.
It's on the video. I mean, I can't pull. He has it on the video.
You never cited Homer today. I don't. At least for Neoniskos.
Well, Neoniskos doesn't appear in Homer because that East Coast thing is a later development. But Neonias appears a couple of times in the Odyssey.
Yeah, and I think that was the.
Have them real quick. Stephen?
Infant child frequents in Homer, which is what you're referencing.
It occurs in book 10, line 278 of Odyssey, and book 14, line 524. If you want to look it up.
It's infant in law, and then it's a minor. So in the law, it was considered infant or a minor.
I'm going to go on Loeb right now, and we're going to look at.
That's what it says right here.
Homer. What verse is it? Odyssey.
So start with 10. Book
Odyssey,
10,
right?
line 278.
All right. Book 10, 278.
And this is Neanis. Like it's
By
not
the way, he
Neaniscos.
said that I was using AI to translate. My translations are from Loeb. By the way.
He's just talking shit. I mean, you guys are talking shit about him. He's talking shit back.
That was like a you're trying to tell your audience I'm doing that. That's you can't tell.
Yeah, he's digging at you. But you have literally on this title like diddling. So
he made it a fair game when he called me the brothel.
I feel it. I get, and the thing is, I like it, dude. This is classic. Like y'all are good, dude. Yeah, don't worry.
I hope people like it. Okay.
The line in Greek starts with erchomeno prosdoma neni andri.
What line is it?
275. It's line 278.
Oh, so it's right. Hey, right here. Ekromeno prosdomo nenin andri eokis. Proton hupteneten to per car. Oh, there's that word. Oh no, that's grace, right? Good grace.
No. Yeah, chariestate.
Yeah. Where's here's Hebe, his child.
When it says nay, that's like Neanias.
That was the beginning of it. The diminutive formed from this right here, and that was I think that's the whole point of what he's getting at. And maybe it's a wrong point to go after. I don't know enough about Greek, but the thing is, I think he's bringing up enough sources that we have to say that he's got a somewhat of a point.
No, zero. No. I've not given you an answer on that.
Point,
he hasn't given me a single.
The point is that it was used as something other than just what y'all are saying.
All right. Well, he's right about the diminutive thing, making it younger. But
there's no diminutive here.
But he's saying the Neoniskos is the diminutive, that formed from this. This is the etymology. This is the etymological line that it goes, down later to get to Neoniskos, which is what you're referencing. And I agree with you, actually.
Loeb has translation as in the likeness of a young man with the first down upon his lip, in whom the charm of the youth is fairest.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's what I thought it was too. So, I mean, and I think that's kind of where his concession was today. Again, I don't know what the fucking maturity age, what they considered it was back then, because there's all kinds of definitions that we see.
Somewhere. Homer is an 8th century BC, not even classical period. It's an Iron Age text. It's actually using poetry that might have passed down from the Bronze Age in some cases. Super ancient, archaic text. Then you have, in between this and Mark, you have Hippocratic Corpus. You have the Delos inscription. You have, Diogenes Laertius is after Mark. Okay. You have Philo, 2 decades before Mark is written. That all use the term Neoniskos for 21 to 28. So why would we assume that Mark is drawing from Homer's definition? It doesn't even have the Neoniskos, the Neones, let alone And then why would we assume that Mark's drawing from this definition rather than the one that's from 2 decades, the one that is Jewish, the one that's
I think the context is what he's referencing.
The one that's in the same city, Alexandria, where Mark wrote the gospel.
And did you hear what he said? Or I don't know if you might have skimmed over that part. I don't know. He basically referenced what was going on in Alexandria, and that there was boys basically trying to get established in the church, or the early Yahwehism, or whatever they were doing at that time, whatever period in the 500 years between Yahwehism, Judaism, and Christianity all was occurring around that area. Like there was people trying to work their way up by writing certain things into the text, and that's what he's saying. And again, I don't know enough about that actual part of the language to like debate that, and I don't know if any of us do. Like, and that's what he's saying, and that's what y'all said before I jump off the Brill thing. That right before I came on, you said, well, maybe if he's challenging all of modern Greek scholarship, if that's what's going on, and that's kind of what he is doing. Yeah, I think that is what he's doing. But the thing is, he's making some good points along the way. I don't know how much he's right or wrong. We're going to find out in a few years, after this, the dust is settled. But this is where it's gone. But I hope that you don't like shame. I mean, what you're doing right here, the diddling title, like, I don't know, just consider
if I'm bringing people in a back alley, like you said tonight, then he's doing that times 100.
I didn't say you're bringing people. Did I say you're bringing people in a back alley? I didn't say that.
Tonight on the stream, he said I was taking.
Oh,
I was taking Witch Doctor in the back alley. So
fair.
If I'm
Okay.
doing that, then he's doing 10 times more than that.
And guys, the second reference from Odyssey, book 14, it's saying Andres ne, so it's like literally young men. He's calling them men. They're men in Homer.
All right, I'll pull that up in a second. I'm gonna let the next guy. I want to do one at a time this time, if you don't mind, Brandon. But I'm definitely
no problem. I'll jump off
next time. All right, man.
Nice
Good
to meet
seeing
you.
See you guys. I'll watch.
All right, cool, man. What's going on, J Frog?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you.
Okay, cool. Hey, I just want to say, like, I really enjoy your stuff, bro. Like,
Thank you.
I've been watching you for a while. I'm not really an Ammonite. Like, I like his stuff.
That's fair. That's fair.
My thing with him though is, I think so is the argument that he's saying that the Neoniscos is a child.
Yes. He's
So
saying
then I
it's
think he's
child,
wrong
underage, prepubescent child. And for a while, I followed him on this argument because he made to me as a newcomer in Greek, he explained to me the diminutive of niskos means younger than niece. I was like, oh, cool. He's got a cool argument. And then all of a sudden, as the months started to go by, and I started to see people have been throwing primary sources at me. I'm a primary source guy. And all of a sudden, all the primary sources disagree with him, except for arguably one, which is probably not even, it's probably an adjective, which is Hesychius. But anyways, the point I was making tonight, or the point I made yesterday that he addressed tonight, was I was showing Witch Doctor all these primary sources that I could pull up real quick just to have them on the screen. All of these primary sources that say that a Neoniskos is up to 28 years old with full body growth. In some cases, they're doing military training in these sources, or they're involved in politics. And what do you want me to do? Do you want me to lie and say this are wrong? Or do you want me to just, you know what I'm saying? Like people are saying that I'm stabbing him in the back for just telling the truth and from what I see it.
Well, see, I've always thought, and I don't really know any Greek, so I can't really judge either way. But I always thought the Pais, P-A-I-S, was the youth, and then like Neoniskos was like young man.
The Pais is just child, and Neos means young or fresh. Neanias is a young man, and Neoniskos is the diminutive of a young man.
By the way, real quick, I'm not trying to cut you off, J Frog, but I just want to say this super chatter from 5 minutes ago that I missed. I have no idea, or I have an idea, since no one wants to debate Ammon on Dan Jones. Already, that's not true. Yeah. There's like 5 people that want to do it. He's been dodging every single one of them. Why don't you do it, Neil? And guess what? I've been saying that I would. He doesn't want to do it. It's not us. It's him. He's lying to people. He keeps telling. Well, he actually stopped doing it recently. Ever since he got called on it, he used to, like a month ago, he used to tell his audience, they're running from me. No one wants to debate me. when we knew that behind the scenes it was the exact opposite. That was when I knew how full of shit he can be. Like when you know something behind the scenes and you see somebody in public completely saying the opposite, you go, dude, this guy he's got nothing. Like he has no like care about the truth at all. Anyways, for the longest, for like 6 months now, this guy right underneath me, Steven, has been saying, I'll debate him on this. Ammon's been saying, no, I don't want to do it. He'd rather go play T-ball with Bob Carson about exorcism. So I thank you for the super chat. And guess what? I've been trying to do it. He's the one on the run, not me.
Well,
He's
Neil,
the one running.
you think that he's because when like I don't know, like I'm not like the other guy that was on I think Brandon's his name, the guy that was on before me.
Yeah.
Like he knows a lot more about it. See, maybe you can ask him, but when I gather from Amin, like I think he's trying to do something. I think I don't really think like if you're saying that he knows these sources, he might know that he might be wrong.
Yeah.
And he's playing like this Greek character, or this like I don't know, like he's
No,
getting us
you
to
know what it
talk
is?
about this.
I agree with you, Jay. Can I call you Jay? Jay, is that
Yeah, that's fine.
Jay? I agree with you. He's doing theology. He's kind of a mystic. He's putting on a show, and he's reading into the text. It's called eisegesis. There's exegesis, which was what churches do. They read from the text and they learn about the Bible. Exegesis. It's a type of theology. He's a theologian. And Ammon's doing eisegesis. He's reading into the text. He's bringing other sources from different centuries in different cities in different places, and he's applying PGM stuff, Greek magical papyri sources, to the Bible. He's applying stuff that he found in Marshall and applying it to the Bible. He's reading into the Bible. If that's what he's doing, and that's what people like, and they enjoy it, I have no beef with you. I think it's fascinating too. But
I think he's playing a character. Because I think he's playing a character. I think he's getting us to talk about this stuff. Because nobody, I mean, I knew about the youth, but like Christians don't talk about it. Like nobody's really talking about it. And like for me, it's like, especially like as somebody that's interested in like the ancient world and like writing, and like you say, you like the primary sources. Like I have a degree in history, so like they put that passage in the Bible for a reason. You know what I mean? You only had certain amount of space for your stories and what you're gonna put into the story. And they put that this youth was in the tomb and he fled.
It's a weird passage, and there's a lot of different theories about it.
And nobody's talked about it. Like,
I mean, there's some people who think that he's doing a resurrection. Other people have weird different theories. I think it's a crazy weird passage. I think it should be discussed. But what was I going to say? Then he puts on his coat today, and he's acting like I'm doing scholarship. It's like you can't have it both ways. Either you're going to do theology and be a theologian and do mysticism, or you're going to be a scholar and you're going to read from the sources and you're going to be honest about what the text say. And then he does this all the time. He says Aristotle's reason is what got me away from the Bible, but I don't see any of that. I see you switching from one theology to another, which is fine. Be a theologian then. Make up your own religion. I don't care. But it's not academia. It's not scholarship. It's not honest reason. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, I would just bring like some of the, I guess, I don't know if there's other people after me, if they're more in Ammon's camp, and ask them, or the guy before me. Like, I think he's playing a character. I think he just wants to get us to talk about this stuff.
Probably.
Like, debate it.
And he's probably successful at that. By the way,
if you guys are bringing this stuff up, he has to know about it, right? Like, he has to know.
He knows this stuff. And by the way, and that's why it makes it even worse in some cases, because I think he knows better and decides not to go with the truth. He says it right here in his book that got peer reviewed. Licking the genitalia of pubertal and prepubertal priestesses in order to receive medications was a prominent ritualistic practice. Now, notice this. This is what he wants. He's the one with the theory. Is there any sources that actually say this? No. He lists one right here, 41. If you look at Agamemnon 1478, it doesn't say this at all. So what he's the one bringing forth a theory that needs to be defended. So when you see Marx Nianiskos and you're like, well, why can't it just be a young man like every other source does? and he's the one insisting that it's a pre-pubertal boy, it's because it's his theory. So I'm not the one defending some sort of status quo or anything. I'm not the one like trying to debunk or do anything. All I'm doing is going, here's what the text says. Here's what all these sources say. He's the one saying, no, it has to be this. It has to be this. He's the one who has a theory that needs to be defended, not me.
So, but has he only said that it can only be prepubescent? Has he?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard him ever say that a Nianiskos can be a young man ever?
I mean,
Well,
I feel like I haven't watched him long enough to.
When Ruck called him out during his lecture, he did back off and say could be before, after puberty, around puberty. He did soften his position a little bit in that particular instance that we have on video.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go.
Because he got called out by Carl Ruck. And
because he was on the spot by a legend classicist who got his PhD in Harvard back in 1969, who's been reading Greek longer than our parents were even thinking about having kids. So like, when that guy calls him out and says, hey, he did it twice too. He did it once back then and once on my show when all three of us were talking, where Ammon said, why is Jesus with a young kid? And Ruck quickly goes, young man, you mean? Nianiskos is young man. And so when he gets called out by Ruck,
that's what he thought. I thought Ammon was saying that he was a young man.
When Ruck was there, I guess he said it, he admitted it, which tells you that he knows better.
Yeah, because even on because I go on Witch Doctor streams a lot, and he's like, no, it's a young man. Like it's not a youth, it's not a man, it's like a young man. Yeah, that's what that's what I thought.
Like we're all Nianiskos here. We're all a bunch of Nianiskos here, you know. Us three, we're Nianiskos. We're young men, you know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean that's all I really wanted to point out. I mean I could jump off. I was just curious as to
it was cool. It was cool.
One, the passage just seems kind of weird, and I think he's trying to get us to talk about it. And then two, the Nianiskos, does he only think it's a kid?
If his whole goal is just to spark controversy and get people to talk about him, then he's a genius. And he's doing a great job.
I think that's what he's doing. Because I mean, you watch his streams and he's like, he's very dramatic and like spanking and stuff like that. Like
somebody left a comment was like, "Why are you so obsessed with what Ammon's doing? Why can't you leave him alone?" I'm going to address Ammon the same way I address Dan McClellan, the same way I talk about Kip sometimes, the same way I talk about Ralph Ellis. This is what I do. I'm in this sphere. If people say something I disagree with, I'm going to talk about it on my channel. It doesn't mean I'm obsessed with anybody or following anybody or doing it. This is just what I do on my channel. These are the topics that I explore. These are what I'm into. So if you come into my sphere of what I'm interested in, you might get a response from me. And it happens to be at this point in time, especially with him calling me out today, I'm doing a response. You know what I mean?
No, that's fair. But I was gonna say, man, you should definitely be this aggressive against like your live debates, dude.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I mean,
people are saying that I was being too laid back in those debates, but they probably were right because I was not prepared at all. I got thrown in there late, very late, like the last week and a half for the first one, and then the second one was the day of. Within 24 hours, they were like, "Can you do a second debate?" I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
So
I agree. I can see that. I just think because I see a lot of channels are like, "Oh yeah, Neil admitted to being wrong before the debate started." I'm like,
well, yeah, because I don't really care about Islam. I'm not here to defend Islam.
yeah. And I think that's what the point was. Like, you broke it down, but a lot of people didn't see. Like, you broke it down. Was like, "Oh, this is what I was saying," and then you kind of won that against AP. To be honest,
you think so? I appreciate that. Most people say I lost, but I don't really care. I wasn't passionate about that subject, but
yeah. I don't think you lost. I think I don't think you were like aggressive, and I think a lot of people think the more aggressive person in the debate is the winner.
Yeah,
and like I said, you broke it down. You kind of like showed like how you won, like how you think you won, and I think I agreed with you after watching that. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
thanks for jumping on, man. It was good seeing you.
No problem. Thanks, man.
All right, I'll talk to you. So Stephen, what else did you want to bring up about the stream today or anything related to that?
I just missed a lot of it, so there's not a lot I can really address.
Now, we didn't really talk about a little bit about the Hesychius one. because I think they have every right to bring up Hesychius, like Ammon or whoever else. Bring up, hey, look, Hesychius. It says Pice right there. Well, can we just go over that one more time real quick?
Yeah, so like to steel man the position.
Yeah.
It's that in some cases Neaniskos can be the same as Mirakion. Mirakion is a diminutive of Mirax, and a Mirax is a pes, as a child. So if like you can if you come around full circle and you connect all of those dots, then a Neaniskos is a child. You can do that if you are playing connect the dot with your sources, and bouncing around from the 5th century all the way around. But you have to do it in the face of these mounds of evidence that we've collected. We haven't even shown all the examples, right? We got Ptolemaeus of Ascalon. I think that was, and then of course the Heliodorus's Ethiopica 2nd century BC is a lot of stuff that shows that a Neaniskos there is a full-grown buff dude, like a full-grown man is a Neaniskos there.
Do you want to hear what he says about the Pice thing? How he got this is what Brandon was hearing. But now wait till you're going to hear it yourself. Brandon heard Pice and he thought Neaniskos, but watch what he actually says.
Right? Give me the next. It's just gorgeous, people. It keeps going. It's just people are like, oh, what is he doing? Have mercy, Martha. No, Martha, there's no mercy tonight, right? Because we have to maintain standards.
By the way, there's no way I was asking for mercy from any of this. I was waiting for a real argument the whole time about anything that I said in the Witch Doctor video and never got it. He's in a whole other tangent right now, talking about other stuff.
We have to maintain standards, people. Look at what Hesychius calls the Madox. He calls it a Pice. Well, wait a minute. I thought you said there's the Paideon, the Pice, and then the Merakion. I thought that was a different stage. Kid turns 8, boom!
Listen how crazy he's getting.
Do you understand, people? I'm sorry. You're getting taken into
here he says it right here.
To the back out.
Listen to
I
how
thought that was a difference.
Listen to how he thinks this is like a huge big win right here. He's looking at Hesychius' entry for Mirox. Let's just play that one more time just so everyone can hear it. And listen to what he says about me taking people into a back alley. Isn't that ironic?
Standards, people. Look at what Hesychius calls the Madox. He calls it a Pice. Well, wait a minute. I thought you said there's the Paideon, the Pice, and then the Merakion.
Yeah, that's what the sources say.
I thought that was a different stage.
It is.
Turns 8, boom!
Boom, what?
Do you understand, people?
What just happened?
I'm sorry. You're getting taken into the back alley.
Really? I'm the one taking people into the back alley. That's me, not him. I'm doing it. Okay, let's see. Let's hear what this even means.
Give me the next one.
Give me the next one. That's it. That was it. That was the boom. He shows the definition of Mirax and thought that was boom.
And then he moves on to Mirakiski.
And then he moves on to the next one.
Yeah.
What is even his argument? Can you even? But people who aren't paying attention, who can't grasp, they just thought he said something there. It sounded like he did.
I understand his argument.
Can you summate it for me?
Yeah, the argument is, in these sources, if you look at all these sources really carefully, and maybe I could make a chart of it before we discuss this next time, they overlap. So for some authors, the Neaniskos and Mirakion overlap.
Sure.
Right? If we're going to take Hesychius at face value and not chalk it up to him giving us a rare meaning, which is normally what he does with his glosses.
But you notice how he criticized me for the Hippocratic corpus being later, as if that meant something. But Hesychius' source from the 5th century AD, that one cancels out every other source. It cancels them all out. Hesychius' source cancels them all out.
So real quick, Diogenes Laertes has a division he doesn't even have Mirakion here, but he has a division between Pais and Neaniskos and then Neanias, right? Those are his 3 stages. But he affirms, Diogenes Laertes, that according to Socrates, go to slide 103. This is the Steelman. I could Steelman. It's slide 103. It makes perfect sense. It's false.
I know
it's
why
not,
he showed that, but it's still it does. Okay.
Yeah. So he's saying that there's a division between in the Pythagorean system between the 20 years of your childhood, Pais, and then the 20 years of your youth, Neaniskos. But he says, Omen Neaniskos Mirakion at the bottom. A youth is an adolescent, right? So they're the same. So Mirakion fits in there. And then Hesychius is also confirming that Mirakion is so Hesychius is contradicting this source. They do not agree. They speak the same language, but they're using different terminology. Like they're drawing the boundaries around these ages in different places. So this like you can't point to Hesychius's categories and say that they govern Diogenes's, or govern Diogenes' categories or Pythagoras' categories. They speak the language differently. They just have different, ideas for what these age ranges mean.
Right. So, but here's where the diddling comes in. Ammon thinks, or he wants people to think, or he's trying to like get people to see, or something like. He's trying to portray it as, here's a source that I like. Here's one source that I like. So this one gets to cancel. He said, boom, as if what just happened. This is why I said what just happened. You think one source from 400 plus AD, whenever the hell Hesychius wrote, 450 or something, cancels out all of the sources that I showed to Witch Doctor that all predate Mark, that Mark had access to. You think the one from 400 years after Mark cancels out all the sources that came before Mark, and you act like that was a boom. I don't think he actually believed. I think he was trying to do theatrics to get people to think that he actually came up with a good argument.
But I have a question though. Why didn't he show Hesychius's entry for Neaniskos, the one that everybody's raving about?
I think he did in the stream somewhere.
Did he? Okay. So does he think that it means baby, or does he think like he
thinks it means like, he thinks it means child.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of at a stalemate there, because no matter what you say, it's an adjective. He's going to say, no, it's not an adjective. It's a child. But I'm trying to get people to understand something. What do you think's more likely? Do you think all of these sources that I'm bringing to everybody are wrong, and Hesychius is the only source that matters? Or, because you got to explain this to people. Explain to them how to use that word as an adjective and what the difference is. How do you even know the difference?
You could pull it up in the LSJ entry, but there's 2 entries in LSJ.
Is it here or no?
Yeah, Nepios is a baby, or Nepios, right? Yeah. Nepios means baby, or sometimes it can mean child, like it can stretch. But there is a second category of usage where you can say oandras nepiosestin, right? Like the man is childish, right? The man is a baby. He's a man baby. And all that means is that man is behaving like a child. That's just according to the sources that are cited in the LSJ. So that's and if you go to the page, like go to the Hesychius page for Neanias.
In here?
Yeah, it's
it's like, Hesychius.
Yeah, and this is like, look, I really, you find it?
Is it?
It is.
Number was it?
Hold on, let me find it. Okay, it is slide 118.
Oh.
Because we didn't finish it. We started talking about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get people to see, because everyone's stuck on Hesychius right now. It's as if all the sources mean nothing except for the one that we want to be true. Notice how that's always the case. Like Ralph Ellis does this. All the sources don't matter except for the one that agrees with my theory. That's the methodology of Ammon Hillman. So explain to me what's going on here.
So what's going on here is that the first gloss, and gloss just means like a single word translation. He gives a gloss of Neanias, which is tolmiros. And tolmiros means bold, right? More, daring, bold. Then he gives the definition for neanievete, which means to behave like a Neanias. And he says, neu erga prati ikavhate, right? He does the deeds of a young man or boasts. I megalophroni epiandria, or is proud of his courage. Kobazi kenos itolma, or brags vainly.
I already understand. So if anyone's paying attention and you're actually like trying to figure out what's going on, notice the pattern here. Adjective.
Yeah.
He gives an adjective for neanias.
These are behaviors.
He gives another adjective for neanewetai.
Mm-hmm.
He gives another adjective for neanawion.
Yeah.
So why the hell would all of a sudden he not give an adjective for neaniskos? Why would he just say child here? And by the way,
also it's not quite
question begging. Yeah. It's a question begging fallacy. Why would neaniskos even have a different word this child anyway? Like child is child, neaniskos is neaniskos. They're not the same word. I know that's kind of a weird argument, but like you know what I'm saying? Why even have
well, but that's what he does for mirax. So I don't have the mirax slide, but if you look up his definition for mirax, he says a mirax is a pes. So he's saying that they're equivalent. It's a child. A mirax is a child, is according to that entry.
Yes.
But it would be really stupid of Hesychius to say that a neaniskos is the noun baby. It would be very unexpected. It would be odd for a Greek speaker to equate those two things.
But he uses nepios for neaniskos, not the word pace, right?
No, yeah. So he's saying that's the word for baby.
And this is the word. This is an adjective that means childish. Is there any difference between the adjective spelling and the noun? They're exactly the same.
They're exactly the same, but they behave differently in the sentence when you put them in the oblique cases.
The problem is we don't have a sentence, so this is amazing for Ammon. He gets a chance to get it out here. There's no sentence here, so you actually can't tell if it's an adjective unless you know the entire context of what's going on here. So he gets to use Hesychius as his one source because just happens to be that the adjective for childish is the same exact word for the word child. He gets so lucky that there's one source that he gets to use that cancels out the 10 other sources that disagree with him. And then, by the way, this source is before, they're all before Mark, and this one's 400 years after Mark. We should definitely use this one, right? It's so crazy when you take a step back and think about this for a second. You know what I'm saying?
Also, the entry for mirax has an asterisk next to it in the version that he puts on screen. It has a question mark next to it in my edition. And there are lots of entries in that Hesychion lexicon that are late, that are not from Hesychius. They're spurious.
Yeah.
And those are usually annotated. And I think that's probably even later than Hesychius. Like that's a late entry. It depends on what that asterisk really means.
You want to do a couple more minutes? Listen to him for a couple more minutes?
Sure.
All right.
Stage. The grape stage is the same stage as the neaniskos. So you tell me, biologically, you boneheads, biologically, what's happening? We're talking about pubertal development. Pubertal development.
You know, he did the same thing with all the arguments that are thrown at him about the Septuagint being a translation. He never engages with the arguments thrown at him. What he does is he ignores the arguments and he goes to he sidesteps the arguments you throw at him because he can't refute them. So instead, he goes up and brings up his own arguments as if they're going to cancel each other out. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like he doesn't actually engage.
I think
with
we started watching at a weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was showing the word for breast. I somehow got lost. Like I didn't see what he's connecting with that.
Over here?
He goes from mirax, says mirax is pes.
Do you understand, people? I'm sorry. You're getting taken into the back alley.
By you.
Give me the next one. People, Look, people.
Yo,
let's
that
just-
was the biggest projection I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, and you can see people are really mad at you for insinuating that he's lying, but then when he says
When
it
he
about
calls
you,
me a liar, yeah, it's okay.
nobody defends you.
No one says, "Oh, come on, man, that was a low blow."
look, let's just bombard this thing. Let's just do it right. We've only got a few more of these. Let's just do it right. Yeah, change me. So what is it if you make that Maddox a diminutive? Yes, I said, I thought you already did that with Madakion. I did. Huh? What if we do it and we make her gorgeous, beautiful female? Merakiske is what we get. And what is she?
Did you just call a little girl a gorgeous, beautiful? I thought sometimes it's hard to tell if he's defending this or if he's like.
She's a little girl. She's a little girl. There's one of these little girls. Look at the first reference. Ar, that is Aristophanes, right? And then R.
Isn't it weird how all the people who are into like the Epstein shit are like, oh, they're these scumbags, but then they're like fans of this, and they're like, are they projecting? It makes I don't know. Let me.
All right, Ronite, the frogs. Line 411. Line 411. Do you want to see what the Maddox is? Do you want to see what the Maddox is? Now, I'm doing this for you people because you know that I just told you. The Maddox is also called the Neaniska. You mean there's overlap? Yeah, sorry.
But you got someone that joined. Let's see what they have to add.
That's a different word, though.
It's a different word. All right, look that up while Neo wants to.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I always have bad audio and.
No,
issues.
It sounds good.
So, I was in the Myth and Lore server when the entire, people were trying to learn ancient Greek.
Yeah.
And this was one of the first problems that I had an argument, especially with his teachers, because if you don't learn the way they tell you to, you kind of get sidelined, right?
You get sidestep, yeah.
Yeah. And this is like one of the arguments I had in the beginning with this particular word, the neaniskos, because neaniskos, the diminutive, sorry if I mispronounce that word, the diminutive doesn't just make something smaller. It can be used as an honorific and as a term of endearment. It makes something endearing as well. And this is common across all languages, not just Greek. For example, when you call your grown dog a puppy, right? When you say I'm going to go out with the boys, you're not saying you're going to go out with little boys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, it's the same thing. So he teaches from the Hansard and Quinn book, and I'm terrible at grammar, so I would pick up other books and I would show people the Logos book because it's one of the first terms, it's one of the first vocabulary terms that you learn. The comparing a baby to a young man and an adult. And his teachers would argue against me and they get upset. I would give them sources and they would just say, okay.
Oh, they don't care about sources. They care about Ammon.
No, the mantra is you either do it our way or fuck off.
Or fuck off. You're out of here.
Yeah.
And
because like Steven said, I'm kind of annoying with the pronunciation stuff.
How long did you start? How long were you back there? How long ago was it? Were you joining the Greek class?
Well, I actually joined the server right before he did the Danny Jones thing, and then after the Danny Jones thing, there was a lot of excitement to learn Greek.
Yes, it was before Danny Jones. You could be a part of the community and you could disagree and have disagreements and argue and rebuttal and back and forth. All of a sudden, after Danny Jones, all these lunatics started joining, and they all they wanted to do is flatter Ammon. Ammon's right. Ammon's right. Ammon's right. So then it became, if you disagreed, you were targeted and kicked out. It became it was all after Danny Jones. Before Danny Jones, things were normal.
Yeah, and I keep the main reason I joined is because in the main chat, people are still arguing and whatnot about the word, and I'm like, I'll just show you the book.
Yeah.
If I can share the screen.
Yeah.
Hit present. Okay, good.
And this is the Logos book.
Yeah.
This is right in the beginning, right? Right after you learn about the accents.
Sure.
One of the first words right here on the right, paidion. Right?
Yeah.
And if you go to, so there you have paidion, pais. And right after that, you have the neanias and the kore. And it gives you, I mean, this is elementary stuff that you learn in a very simple beginner's book. It's not, I don't know
Right.
why there's even an argument over this.
It's not, it's crazy. Like sometimes I think when I'm watching the Lady Babylon congregation defend Neoniskos or the word Christ meaning drugs, something like that, it's like a Twilight Zone episode. It's like they're so under some sort of like spell with this shit, dude. Because they're literally just disregarding reality right in front of them. Everyone's wrong except for my savior, Ammon Hillman.
Yeah,
and then
and
all
I
he
don't
has
know.
to do is jump on a live stream, completely sidestep all of my arguments, and just show you a bunch of entries about Mirox having the word pice there, and not even engaging with what I said, and then say that I'm the one diddling people. Isn't that something?
And with the people that are learning, that were in those groups trying to learn Greek, I think it dwindled down to like 5 people that took it seriously, because it's just like the blind leading the blind. The Hansen and Quinn book, you need somebody to guide you through it. It's not something you can just pick up and do by yourself.
Oh, it's a tough book. Me and Steven are still using it, even though we're doing other things as well. But it's tough.
I dislike it.
Yeah, I don't. It's more like a reference book to me because it just throws so much information at you at one time. But also the way he teaches, like he would tell people, skip the first unit. The pronunciation and the accent doesn't matter.
That's what he told me. Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah, do not translate from English into Greek, which is like one of the first. It's like learning languages 101, where you translate something like you do, like I brushed my teeth today, I did this and that, into your target language.
You ready for this? You ready for this? Notice, I want to show some people this real quick, because his pronunciation, even though he knows better, I know he knows better, it bleeds. It shows. Like, okay, real quick. Here. All right, now watch. He's going to read his favorite verse, Mark 14.
Yeah.
Watch. Notice something. Okay, you guys know what a stress mark is. Obviously, you know what a stress mark is because you're studying Greek. But I want to explain to my audience what's going on here. First, I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to explain it to him.
In this, where is it? Yep. We're going to end this with a couple.
Watch this.
Yeah. I want you to remember all of this has to do with what problem-raising passage. All of it has to do with the Bible. Do you see what happens?
This is like literally a holy text to them.
An actual classical philologist got the Bible and blew things up. Isn't it glorious satanic beauty? You can't stand in the way of that sword. You can't. Thank you. Hail Satan.
That was perfect, except for he said periblemenos. He skipped the b.
Yeah.
So there's all right. I'm not going to.
He dropped the whole syllable.
He dropped the syllable there, but whatever. But listen to this next line now.
Where do
all right, I'm going to let you, Neo. I'm going to let you explain what he just got wrong there.
The sindon, it should be sindona.
Sindona. And then what did he say in the next one?
Epi gumnuo.
He said
gumno. Sorry, gumnu.
He said sindon guno. He totally misses the stress. But some people are going to say, oh, come on, he just made a quick mistake. If you start to pay attention, now that I've pointed this out to you, every single time he tries to read Greek on the screen, he does this. Every single time almost. A couple weeks ago, or I think it was like a week or two ago when he was in his car, it was so bad that I'm thinking about like making a clip out of it, because he literally missed every single stress mark on the whole thing he read on the screen. I've never seen it that bad in my entire life.
And this is one of my point of contentions with the people learning the book, because they would make fun of me that I'm the accents guy because I cared about the pronunciation. I mean, with even Steven, I was going hard at him for using that Byzantine or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would say Kenianiskos tis sinikoluthi αυτό περιβεβλημένο συνδόνα επιγυμνού και κρατούσιν αυτόν. I could also say
off tone.
Yeah, I could say kai neaniskos tis sinekoluthe.
Soon, not seen.
No,
soon.
sorry. Sunekoluthe
There you go.
autoi peribeblemenos sindona epigumnu kai kratusin auton.
So you know how
It's
to
very
do
difficult. Yeah.
he knows how to do ancient.
It's
It's
just like
your brain is as used to modern. So it's not.
I would
get
just
it.
rather say και νεανίσκος της συνικολούθη αυτό περιβεβλημένο συνδόνα επιγύμνου και κρατούσιν αυτόν. It's like a normal language for me.
Yeah,
it's not like
any scholar that knows modern Greek is probably just going to use modern Greek. It's not that big of a deal.
It's just for me, it's not like a Harry Potter incantation where I'm like, Kai neaniskos. It's like I just don't need to put that much effort behind it. For me, it's like second nature because I speak this language every day.
Yeah, yeah. But
my argument was just knowing the difference because it is a long range, 5,000 years.
Right.
And it's anachronistic.
But it's the auto there has it first of all it has a circumflex accent and it has an iota subscript.
That's why Ammon says autoi. He loves that stuff.
Yeah, this is like Koine, so it doesn't matter that much because this is right like Koine, so it's not going to sound Homeric.
Yeah, and so Koine Greek, you don't have to say autoi. You could say auto.
Yeah, like you could, but you could go classical and you could say autoi.
Yeah, that's very classical.
But what? Like, I mean, for me, yeah, you could say autoi, or you could say auto, or you could say auto, or you could just go.
If you're going to go that far, you might as well add digammas then.
Yeah,
you might as well start by saying,
this wouldn't have digammas because, like I said, it's late Koine.
Yeah, this is Koine. That's what I'm saying. When he adds his own classical spin to it, you're not doing anything special. You're doing something that means nothing. Because this is it's written by Koine Greek for a Koine audience. So you're not. That's why I said if you're going to do all these autois and stuff, why not add a digamma then?
Yeah, and you mentioned that doing the hexameter in this, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have it. It's Koine. They purposely didn't write it.
Yeah,
like an epic.
Yep. But there's a couple people are joining in now. It seems like. Anything else you wanted to say, Neil? There was some good stuff you added.
No. It's just funny to me that they're still arguing over this Nianiskos thing, where to me,
because they need it to be true.
Argument.
Till the day Ammon Hillman dies. Are you ready? You ready to hear a prophet speak? Till the day, I'm going to put myself big for this. Till the day Ammon Hillman dies, he will never, ever, ever say that Nianiskos is a young man. Why? Because his whole entire life's work depends on Nianiskos, because of his theories. They're theories. Even when Ammon says, I hate theories, I'm just reading text. No. You have a theory about what happened in the garden on Mark 14. That's a theory. It's no different than any other theory about the resurrection happening in Mark 14. You have a theory. Oh, he dropped out. But my point is, you will never hear him ever give an inch on that because that's he needs it to be true. So, What's going on, Mandan?
Hi, Neil. It's great to see you again.
Good to see you again. You were here last time. I almost didn't recognize you with the hat.
Sorry.
What do you think about all this?
Steve.
Hey.
What do you think about all this?
Well, I gotta say I'm growing increasingly disappointed with Ammon. That's a certainty.
Anything in particular?
The Nianiskos thing is definitely wild. I would like to thank Steve for showing that.
You're welcome.
And
go ahead.
I think there's still valuable things to Ammon's theory.
Sure.
Even if it is a theory, even if he is being dogmatic and cultish, and even if he is getting stuff wrong. I think, well, your channel has been about this for a while. There is a connection between Jesus and drug trafficking.
Well, okay, I'll steel man that. He is He's the Jesus. He's the healer. He's going around. He's spitting in people's eyes. He's healing people. So in a sense, there is this healer pharmacon aspect, and there is the Eucharist. There is the eternal life aspect, which was prominent in the cult of Asclepius of the time period. He's competing with the Asclepian cult. So I think, like Ruck writes about this as well, that there's a whole other side of Jesus that's all about healing and medico and mediculto and stuff like that. So yeah, I totally get that angle. I totally get that angle. You know,
and I mean, looking into that, I found out that there's another term. Looking into pharmakeia, there's a term called pharmakos, and that has its own meaning completely. And it's a sacrifice. It's a religious sacrifice that had been going on for centuries in Greek religion, and the etymology of it obviously ties into pharmakeia.
Is this on Perseus Tufts?
I believe so. This is sort of the words that you pull up in Google, and it shows you what it means. But
so you're talking about an adjective?
Yeah,
which one would it be here? Oh, sacrifice, right here. Look, right here. Sacrificed.
Right?
Well, that's pharmakos.
Why are those related? Why is pharmakeia and pharmakos so fucking close?
Yeah, that's a good question. Steven, what do you think?
It's the whole pharmakos, right? It's like
it's right here. He's not lying. He's right.
But if you go up to the top, there's another one that's pharmakos that has the stress on the first syllable, and it's different.
Right.
It would be written the same.
Well, we know that.
But that's a sorcerer, magician, and so forth.
But Jesus, what you're saying is Jesus was sacrificed. He's a pharmakos.
Yeah, he's both. He's the sorcerer, magician, and the sacrificed, and the healer.
See, I don't have any problem with what you just said at all.
And
by the way,
here's the kicker, though.
Here we go, right here. Jesus the Magician, written by Morton Smith, who, by the way, was good friends with Ammon's professor. I just messed up my. There we go. Right here, man. This is all about that Jesus as a magician, as a sorcerer, even forwarded by Bart Ehrman. Bart Ehrman put his name on this thing. And there's a lot of stuff in here that's pretty intense about Jesus as a sorcerer.
Mm-hmm.
You got to read it. It's pretty good. But yeah, no, this is out there. This is good stuff, I think.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you. And
yeah,
well, something to add to that, in the traditional Greek pre-Christian pharmakos ceremony, the sacrificed person was usually some sort of criminal, despised.
Really?
Look it up. Look
another
it up.
definition
Don't
there
take
is
my word for
scapegoat.
anything ever. I'm some random guy.
No, I trust what you're saying.
Don't.
What, Stephen? What were you saying?
I want this to be fact checked.
Yeah, you want.
One of the glosses is also for pharmakos is also scapegoat, right? So it's the
scapegoat.
Oh,
Jesus is the scapegoat. Yeah.
Right.
So,
why is scapegoat?
So think about this for a second. In Yom Kippur, which is it comes from Leviticus 16, I think it is, where they take two goats. One of them is called Azazel, and the other one is just, I forgot what the name of it is, but I think it's to Yahweh. So one of them's to Azazel, which means scapegoat in Hebrew. Azazel. By the way, this is another reason why the Septuagint translation, because they transliterate it in Greek. They don't they don't say anything else. Anyways,
yeah.
So you got the scapegoat, and then you have the goat, and they let one goat out, which is the scapegoat, where has all the sins on it, and that one just gets thrown out in the wilderness and let free. And then the other one sacrificed in the temple area. So Jesus actually puts on the role of this sort of scapegoat. It's changed a little bit though in the Gospels, because he's the scapegoat, but he's not let free. Barabbas.
Well, he does both. He runs into the wilderness and meets Satan, and then gets sacrificed.
And he's also in the wilderness after he's dead too. They find him out there. So it's a little weird. It's very weird how they do it. But Barabbas plays the role of the one he's the sinful one who's let go. But you can see how they're playing around with this idea, because there's no evidence that Judeans ever did this. They were like, oh yeah, it was a ritual that every year Pontius Pilate would let one person free, and they decided it was Barabbas. That didn't happen. They're riffing off of Leviticus. That's what they're doing. It's like a mimesis happening.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But I guess that adds to. I don't want to defend that one here because
no, you're saying this is
terrible.
Up Ammon's. This is.
I think
I'm always here to. If Ammon's right, you're going to hear me say it.
Yeah.
And this is what you're. But what you're saying is this is something that looks like it's up Ammon's alley, right?
Right, and not only that, if there's a common etymology to the pharmakos thing and the pharmakeia, then at some point in the past, way pre-Christian past, they were very closely connected. Because, I mean, if they split, they were once one. And then eventually with Jesus, they sort of reconnect.
Yeah. Stephen, do you know? Stephen dabbles in Proto-Indo-European. Stephen, do you know where this word comes from?
Well, ultimately, it comes back to the verb pharmako, which I'm looking at, like Demosthenes, for example. He uses pharmako. There's two different definitions. One can mean you're either suffering from the effects of a drug or a charm, right? The charm's the drug as well. Or it means you require a drug or a remedy. So pharmakos means basically that you are medicated, right? And so maybe they were making sacrifices by poisoning the sacrificial victim and then making them pharmakos. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
They did dip
Like
it
with North African horned viper venom.
Yeah, there's so one of the rituals of a sacrifice in the Avesta is using the Haoma, which is a psychedelic potion, and the Soma sacrifice in India. It's called the sacrifice. They use the word sacrifice for Soma sacrifice. So there's that.
All these connections.
Pull up the Wiktionary. Pull up the Wiktionary I just dropped in the private chat. It has the etymology from probably from Becca's. It's usually Wiktionary usually does a pretty decent job.
I love Wiktionary.
Yeah.
Here, so this is Indo-European pharmacon.
Yep. Proto-Hellenic, cognate with Mycenaean, so it goes all the way back to pa-ma-ko, right?
Pulaskian, baby, Pulaskian.
Yeah. And you can see that the A and the O are interchangeable, the M and the V variation, right? Forbanda, doctor's medicine.
Throat. The word for throat.
And so Beckus believes that this is pre-Greek, which means that it is not Greek. It is foreign to Greek. It is a foreign loan word.
It was adopted by the Greeks.
So there's four scholars arguing that it's foreign, and then maybe some other scholars that argue that but it's, foreign it was borrowed into Mycenaean Greek from some pre-Greek substrate.
Look at this one, Latvian, to conjure magic. That's interesting. Latvian. And then you got drug, healing drug, potion.
Wait,
charm,
a die? Does that say a die?
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, Neil, pull up slide 62 in the slideshow. I'll show you die.
Okay.
This is Herodotus.
62.
Hit me with it, Steve.
62. It's amazing. I even color coded it. We didn't get a chance to go over it.
Yeah, we'll get to it in our recording. 62. Here we go.
Yeah, so look at that. He's got all the colors, and he says are painted like it's from Anthizo, right?
With
pharmacocene.
Yeah,
so pharmacocene. So those are just colors.
So they're painted with drugs.
But the way Herodotus is using it, he's using it in the sense of colors, and then he lists the colors above there. Lefkos.
But wait. Isn't this sort of a perennial connection? Like, when's come the Mad What's the Mad Hatter about?
You're talking about in Alice?
Yeah.
Where does he come from?
What does the idea or the archetype of the Mad Hatter come from?
I don't know.
Pan?
No, I actually get to teach you guys something. This is an honor. Thank you, guys.
Oh, cool. I love being taught stuff.
It was the chemicals they were using for the process of
the mercury. Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
No. You're so right. I remember you know when someone says something and it strikes a memory in your brain, and all of a sudden something comes. You just did it right now. My 6th grade science teacher used to tell us that the term Mad Hatter comes from people who used to make hats, because they used to take mercury and they used to clean their hats and form their hats with mercury. So hatters started to lose their minds because of the mercury. That's where the term Mad Hatter comes from. I forgot about it until you said that.
Thank you. Well,
yeah,
that's fantastic. And so it seems like this pharmakeia thing is similar, like a paint and a poison and a drug.
Yeah,
that's the Mad Hatter archetype,
and a charm.
That just
makes
happens
sense.
to be this,
and also another reason why this makes sense to me is because when they processed the purple, they were adding chemicals to it. They were doing stuff to it. It's processed, so it makes sense that pharmaco would be like a word they would use for this.
Yeah, and I guess a final point to raise is, even if Neaniskos means young man, it's
you're still left with what was going on in Mark 14.
And not only that,
man. I've
Mary
always
was considered a young woman.
Yeah,
she was 12.
Right, according to that early source, you're right. Yeah,
right, which the Catholics took seriously.
Very seriously. That was the Proto Evangelion James was very popular until the 5th century. That's what my trusted Tony Burke collection tells us. It's in here. It was a very popular book. It never got like canon level. It never was like taken seriously as like canon level, but it was definitely passed around in churches and read.
Right. Like the Christian Sibyls.
Yeah. Yep. Like that. It's not like a Gnostic text. That's not heretical, but it wasn't like they're like, yeah, we can take it or we can leave it,
Right. And tie that to the fishers of men thing we were talking about. And I'm sure Steve can help me with the context here. My understanding is at the historical time of Jesus, this idea of fishers of men was used for charlatans, bringing people into cults, and slavers, people who were kidnapping and selling bodies, people. And at the same time, literally exactly at the same time of Jesus' ministry, you have Tiberius and the allegations of little fishies. So all of that stacked up, plus the age of Mary, plus the pharmakon stuff, like the case just keeps piling on, and it's just not even Ammon piling it on anymore.
Yeah, you're saying there might be some weird language going on in the gospel authors that might be riffing off of this stuff.
Yeah, far beyond might. Why does Jesus, why mastoi in Revelation? Why mastoi?
Well, Revelation is one of those weird texts that have a lot of weird imagery anyway.
Right, but Jesus with tits is...
Do you know that Revelation was like rejected up until late in the game? I don't know how late. I'm not sure how late exactly it was, but it was central to a group called... what the hell is this guy's name? They were a bunch of heretics. They're a bunch of like Gnostic heretics, and they were like big into the Sibyl, and they were big into prophecy and like speaking in tongues and all that stuff. They had a lot of women in their church that were like Sibyls, and that was their central book was Revelation and John, Revelation, and John's epistle. That was their favorite text. And then at some point, there was like some sort of council in like the 5th or 6th century, and they were like talking about Revelation. I think it was the Council of Trent, I want to say. They're talking about Revelation, and then Revelation ends up becoming canon. But Revelation was not part of the canon until way later. Not Trent. No, I'm sorry, not Trent. Trent was in the 15th century. Forget what I just said. It was something else. It was something way before that. No.
I guess, and that makes sense, and that's fair. But I feel it's not so much about any particular piece of evidence. Like we can pick any single one apart for sure, but the cumulative case seems to be very strong. Yeah. Not in any, again, particular allegation against Jesus or against the early church, but just the fact that there was a broad spectrum of dark stuff going on that we would condemn with our modern sensibilities.
Look at this.
And I guess the point to all of this, and you've made this point, Neil, is to reject this idea that Western civilization is fundamentally Christian.
Yeah,
because it's not.
Christianity is just part of the ever so flowing nature of the Western, of the Greek and Roman and all that stuff.
Right.
Check this out, though. Look at this. Revelation was among the last books accepted in the Christian canon, according to Wall, according to this. And present day, some churches that derive from the Church of the East reject it. Eastern Christians became skeptical of the book, doubts about its authorship, and unusual style. See what I'm saying? It was accepted by the Montanists, like I just said. This is the group that I was talking about, who were heretical. Dionysius 248, Bishop of Alexandria, disciple of Origen, wrote Book of Revelation. Could have been written by Corinthians. I didn't know that. Anyways, I just want to show you something real quick about these guys, Montanists. These guys are awesome. New Revelation, early Christian movement, mid to late 2nd century, referred to by the name of the Montanists. And then Montanists originated in Phrygia, which is right where the Nazarenes were at, by the way. Phrygian Christianity. They're even called the Phrygians in some cases. Same name as the Nazarenes. And if you look at what they were doing, prophetic activity. Let me just see if I can find like what they were doing in here. Beliefs. Ecstatic prophecy. The name New Prophecy implied Montanism was a movement that focused around prophecy, specifically the prophecies of the movement's founders, which were believed to contain the Holy Spirit's revelation of the present age. And then it says right here, Eusebius says, Montanus became beside himself and beginning suddenly in a sort of frenzy and ecstasy, he raved and began to babble and utter strange things.
We've been there, haven't we, Neil?
Yeah. In a manner contrary to the constant custom of the church. See, look, this guy was a straight up heretic. And their special book was none other than Revelation. You know what I mean?
And again, Ammon's argument is that it's a recipe spelled backwards. I have no way of testing that. I don't know. But again, with all the drug stuff going on with Christianity, right, and the crimes and the cover-ups and the vandalisms and the tyranny that would eventually ensue from it, I think there's good reason to fight this stuff. And again, I don't blame you for any of this, Neil. You've tried to keep this as reasonable and noble as possible, and I really do believe that. And Ammon has made it more difficult, way more difficult than it has to be.
Yeah, I kept the truce going for as long as possible. You know, I had my disagreements with some of the things he said. I didn't talk about him. I didn't bring him up. And then all of a sudden I'm hearing I'm the brothel. I'm like, all right. You just opened up the game. Like now it's all opened up. Now let's do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Civis pacem parabellum or something like that.
Yeah.
He was not prepared for war against you. And
right. Well, he might be though. He might have some cards in his back pocket that he's ready to reveal. Who knows? I'm ready. I know he's not. I know he's not stupid.
Well, let's hope he watches this, and if he steals some of my arguments, I'd be flattered. If either one of you guys steals my ideas, even if you give zero credit, I would be very flattered.
Yeah. No, if I bring up the Pharmacon thing, I'll make sure I cite you.
Thank you. Thank you. And well, that was about it from me today. Don't want to keep you.
No, you're good, man. Always good. Stop by every time I do these lives. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you. It really is an honor. It really is.
Good seeing you.
Good seeing you. Have a great night.
You too. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
I'll talk to you. What's up, Henny? What's going on?
What's up?
What are your thoughts?
I just woke up when you started screaming. What time is it at your
Oh, it's
location?
it's 3:30 here. I'm getting ready to wrap this up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on? What do you think about everything?
I at this point I don't care if what Dr. Ammon said is factual or not, because the entertainment factor is so large.
I have no problem with that at all. What you just said, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I just see it as good entertainment at this point, and
it is entertaining. I was having fun during the stream today, even being called, even despite what was going on. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, you were in contact with him for quite some time, and it was
about almost 4 years now. It would be.
Yeah, and it was hilarious to
or 3 years, 3 years.
Videos in chronological order.
Yeah, 3 years, not 4 years.
Yeah, like in the manner your interaction changed over time. It's it's a little hilarious.
Well, if I had to say what I think happened, the Danny Jones podcast blew up. People people who didn't know who he was found out who he was. He gained a whole new audience and then some after Danny Jones podcast. And then it became people who have before the Danny Jones podcast, there was disagreements around people. Look, I focus on the things me and him had in common. And then that was it. When I joined his channel, he would say his stuff. I would say, "Oh, interesting. I never heard that before." And I would go look into it and I would see it's not really there, or it might be there. And if it was there, you'd see it in my videos. Yeah, his ego went through the roof after Danny Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell. You can tell. But whatever. What are you gonna do?
Me?
Well, I'm just saying, what can you do?
What can you do? You can just try to see things for what they are. And I'm gonna be honest. Your first guest that you had on today, I saw him also on Myth Vision podcast, and I'm a little sometimes paranoid individual, and I take very long to believe what people are saying. I'm listening, but I'm not necessarily believing. People mix that up a lot of the time.
Right.
Yeah. So I think there is so much worse theologian than Dr. Hillman.
Right. Look, I don't have a problem with people doing theology and doing mysticism and reading into text and mixing and matching and doing like a ancient type of jigsaw puzzle thing. I do that stuff too. But then what I don't do is I don't turn around and say these theories of mine are correct and everyone's lying to you except for me. That's what I don't do. I have fun with it. Like I go on to Cult Explorers, the channel Cult Explorers, all the time, and we look for deep connections that like might not be apparent. It might not be like strong connections, but we look at them and we explore them and we throw them out there and we have fun with them. And then we turn around and do another one. We're not picking one to be dogmatic about. We're comparing Dionysus to Shiva, or comparing Zeus to some African god. I don't know. We do this all the time. We do this all the time.
I have it's not my comparison, but I find it very, very peculiar. I'm just gonna say I'm not a fan of Hitler, but as a German, I know the history, and I not listened to, but read some of his speeches in text. And I'm not 100% sure, but quite sure that he is in an esoteric way in some sentences referring to Odin and Jesus by the same nickname.
Probably. I'm sure there's I've seen a lot of stuff on the esoteric behind Nazis and all that stuff. I'm sure there's something like that going on.
So
The Vril, you know, the Vril, all that stuff, Vril Society, all that stuff.
So you would say that that sounds believable at first glance.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something like that going on.
I found it literally in the oldest speech that is available from 1922.
Damn.
The nickname that I mean is in English you would say Lord. In Deutsch it's Herr, Herr.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the nickname he uses, and at some points I think it's very, very obvious that he is referring to some necromantic deity. So I mean, in that case, Odin comes to mind, and a lot of other sentences he uses Lord like a Christian would use it, regular Christian.
Yeah. It's almost like he's got like a top layer of like basic Catholic, you know, Jesus is the Son, God is the Father. But then like there's another like esoteric layer behind him that's more like into like Germanic Odin stuff.
Yeah.
I would believe I wouldn't be surprised if that was true.
Yeah. Okay. I feel flattered. In school in history class they always said, "Oh, you're having weird conspiracy theories."
Yeah.
I mean,
that's people people just don't like this kind of stuff. Some people either you do or you don't, you know.
Do what?
Either you're into this stuff or you're not. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. And I can't help looking into history. It's like a drug.
Yeah. For sure.
And I think you said it wasn't like you like this for you from childhood.
Was that like this from childhood, you said?
Yeah, like this history addiction.
I think I started it when I was in prison. I started growing because I had nothing else to do but read in there. So I would like there was an old they had a library in there with old books. And I just started just looking through all these old books. And next thing I know, I'm into like ancient history and stuff, you know.
So has this interest always lingered around in you, or did you feel like you developed it?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know if I ever thought about that. I think I've always been interested in this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just kind of grew over time, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's very I would even say it has some therapeutic value sometimes to watch your channel in comparison to a lot of the bunk that's out there on YouTube.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's good to know.
You're welcome.
Are you where do you live in the United States?
No, I live in Germany.
Oh, you're in Germany right now, huh?
Yeah. That's why I woke up when you started screaming.
Oh, you did say that. That's right. You said that. Yeah. What time is it over there?
We now have a 9:45 in the morning. Yeah.
Oh wow. Germany, huh? What's it like over there?
It's horrible. I never go outside unarmed, and I live in like a small village.
Oh wow.
Yeah. just last week, some guys were. I don't know what they would have done if I didn't have the Ammon. I don't know what they would have done.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
And it has not been the first time.
Are you a Norse pagan or no?
I would say so. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Is Norse paganism making a comeback over there?
Yeah, definitely.
It is. Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Coincidentally, I found out that my coke dealer is a Norse pagan. Like a few weeks ago. That was funny.
That's awesome. I'll have to go check out Germany someday. I have some German in me. On my mom's side. My mom's father. Laufer is their name. Laufer. Is there Laufers in Germany still?
Lothar.
Laufer. Laufer. It means like to run in German. Laufen.
Yeah. I know that it means to run. I misheard the spelling.
Yeah. My grandfather's side of the family was from the Black Forest region.
Oh yeah. I remember you said this sometime.
Yeah, I probably brought it up here. Black Forest, Germany, which is I think it's the southwest area, right? Southwest Germany. Like close to let's look at Google Maps real quick.
I'm at the western edge.
Where?
The western edge of Germany.
Oh, really?
The most western area. Yeah.
Let me look this up on Google Earth.
People don't know this. This was part of the Roman Empire for 500 years. And for 50 years, this area here has been in the same political entity like Kurdistan.
Really?
Yeah. At the time of Trajan.
So, let's see. Germany is over here. Black Forest is right here, right? This is all Black Forest, I'm guessing. Like you can see it. It's dark. It's a dark forest.
No, I think the Black Forest is more in the center.
Let me see.
Like north of this.
Right here. I was
really?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it's not my area.
Why you're over here?
No, it's like northwest of Luxembourg, northeast of Luxembourg.
Oh, so way up here, right up here.
South of Cologne, like between Cologne and Luxembourg.
Right here.
Yeah.
I don't want to dox you, that's why I'm not getting too close, but I'll say in that area. But yeah, people from this region are a lot of it's really close to Switzerland and France. So it's like
this is like right side of the Rhine, right?
Yeah.
I'm on the left side of the Rhine. So
Zurich is Switzerland. It's right here. Yeah.
Our culture here, our local culture is more similar to Dutch or to French culture than to other areas in Germany in many ways. Like if you go east of the Rhine, a lot changes, or north of the Danube.
Different culture.
If you go east of the Elbe, it's a whole other thing again. And before, if you cross the Oder, it was a different thing again. It's a very
a lot of mountains over here, huh?
Spectrum, or it used to be a spectrum. German used to be a spectrum. Today it's deteriorating.
I feel like this area right here is beautiful. The old border of the old Roman Empire, right here, the Roman Republic days.
Yeah.
And right around here somewhere, there is a shrine for Augustus. I can't remember where it is, but it's in the Alps somewhere. There's this big shrine for Augustus.
Yeah, we never visited Germanic sites in school. We always used to visit Roman sites. Coincidence?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this still is fucking Rome. Of course, they are showing us Roman history.
Oh yeah, it's the Roman world. Look at that.
Okay. Exactly.
Yeah, Europe is beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah, this is like a wine area. Wine
Yeah,
area.
France and Italy. It's all wine. What's this?
What the pictures you just showed there?
Look at
Okay,
this.
not this, but before the what was this? Ravines?
This is in the Alps somewhere.
Yeah, this we have places that look like this also in the center of Germany. The difference to the Alps is just that the highest mountains are not as high, but generally the area is very hilly, very very rugged.
Whoops. I was trying to look up Lawford, Germany. That's where Lawford, Germany. There's two. Yeah, this is the one right here. Lawford, Germany. That's it. This is where
yeah, okay.
Somebody here I'm probably related to. I never met them, but I'm probably related to them because their name is Lawford, and they're right in the Black Forest, Germany. So there's probably a good chance I'm related to them.
So this is the name of your
family's name. Yeah, that's my grandfather's name, Lawford.
Your paternal or maternal?
Maternal. My mom's father.
Yes, I remember correctly.
Yep. Good stuff. Look at this. Nice.
And I come from a very religious area. The town I grew up in, it has less than 10,000 inhabitants, and it has 4 churches.
Really?
Yeah, the pagan energy at this place was so strong that it was necessary to build 4 churches for 8,000 people to keep it down.
Wow.
4 churches for 8,000 people. This is like, do you have more or less churches in America for 8,000 people?
Damn. Do they rebuild any old pagan sites into churches?
You mean right now?
No, just from the old days.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they were all built in different points in time. One was built like 9th or 10th century, and the others were all built in the High Middle Ages or early modern period. So even up until to the early modern period, they kept building churches in the area because priests probably could tell that their efforts were not sufficient yet.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Sounds like a conspiracy theory.
Maybe. Well,
I'm not saying it's true. I just say it looks like this is true.
Yeah. How do you pronounce your name?
My name, Aberfeld. It's a Jewish name.
Really?
Nice. Yes, I'm 1/8 Jewish.
Nice.
But I look like Adolf Stalin. Even though I'm 1/8 Jewish.
You would have been good during the Nazi. They would have thought you were okay.
Yeah.
You would have got by just fine. Oh man,
No,
let's get later.
My political views would have not been accepted.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I'm more. I lean more towards the anarchist spectrum.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting late now, and it's been good to have a chat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut the stream down, but next time I do it live, make sure you jump on.
Yeah, sure.
You can stick around for the outro if you want. I'll hit the outro if you can stick around.
Yeah, why not?
All right. And you have just attained. Where's my true gnosis?
You have just